Good evening, Booze. Happy Friday. I don't care what national day it is today. I'm just so happy it's Friday. It's spring break and it's Friday. I'm just happy. No school today. I had prep time. I had everything today. I don't know what to do with myself right now. Um, so buckle up because I, well, I hope I have a great show for you guys tonight. I worked pretty hard on this one. Not that I don't work hard on them all, but this one was I don't know. It seems I don't know if it's because it has to do with Native Americans, but it felt a little bit more spiritual for some reason. So I wanted to approach it. Yeah, I don't want it to be goofy or anything. So I think what I'm going to do like I normally do. I'm going to hop in and say hi to everybody in chat. And then I'm going to go right to the spirit houses tonight. And after that, we can be goofy. I just want to, I don't know, it just seems a little bit more solemn with these for some reason. Not that all cemeteries shouldn't be that way, but I don't know. There's just something. Maybe because I don't know a whole lot about Native American spirits. I don't want to be I don't want to piss off any either. So, with that said, I'm going to tread carefully and approach this nicely. And but after I get done with the spirit talk, I've got a couple sillies that we can do and talk about. I found an interesting item on eBay. Don't get too excited because it's already sold. I tried, but I failed because the bid went up to $300, and I was like, nah, I wasn't even going to go like $50. So it was a little too rich for my blood considering what it was. And I'm going to show you that at the end of the stream. Oh, actually, I do want to start. Um, I do have an update for you guys. And I think we can start with this one. This can be our lead in for tonight. I found Andrew Gagel, who was the sculptor that I was talking about on Tuesday night. And I had shown you all his sketchbook, and we looked at his sculpture of Inez that is in Graceland Cemetery in Chicago. And then we also looked at Lulu, who is in Rose Hill Cemetery in Chicago. And I was disappointed because I had hoped that he was a well enough known sculptor in his time that I would have thought there would have been a photo or something. Well, your friendly neighborhood genealogist got in and got dirty on Ancestry, and I went deep, and I found a photo of Andrew and Emma, his wife. So I'm going to pop over. I'm going to say hi to everybody real quick. I'm going to get your comments up here. I got to remember to do this. I keep forgetting. And then I will amaze you with what I found. So, and it was it was weird. I had to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole, a pretty good long rabbit hole, and my eyeballs were crossing by the end of the night, but I'm so happy that I did go and I did find it. So when I pop those up, I think the chat looks good like that. All right, so I'm going to come over. I see Darlene's already hard at work posting all of the links for tonight. Thank you as always, Darlene. You are top mod. I'm going to give you 2 big thumbs up. If I had money, I would give you a raise, but I don't. So, but I would if I could. And then we have Gene Gamble Jr. And Gene, you're the only one that I'm going to call by his full name just because I like saying Gene Gamble Jr. I don't know. It's like Hank Williams Jr. or something. You can't just call him Hank. You got to call him Hank Williams Jr. So, or I guess you could call him Hank Jr. But no, I still like what I'm calling you. So I'm going to stick with that with you. But everybody else gets a nickname. So, all right. So, and hello, then Gene Gamble Jr. He says, hello, Tombstones and all the booze. And my favorite crazy Jen is here. Hi, Jen. I also have a story for that Jen's probably going to like too that I'm going to talk about. Oh, I don't know if I'm coming on Sunday night or not, but if I do, I got a good story. I hope. Everything sounds really good in my head until it comes out of my head and then it gets really scary. And hello, Ernie B. And let's see. Oh, I love the little black hearts when they pop up in chat. So hello. And Ernie and TF. Hello. And let's see. I'm going to go down. Everybody's saying hello. I see Adventures is here. I think Jeremy, right? So I'm going to call you Jeremy now. If I remember, I may have a very short-term memory. But yeah, throw a teaser at the group. Go ahead, Jeremy. I'll let you. No problem at all. And hello, Mike, and welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before, but welcome. We have a very nice chat here. So everybody's really friendly. And we talk about some serious, not really serious, but yeah, we're goofy, but we also, yeah, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for right now, but I'll get there eventually. But hello. Oh, thank you, Darlene. I'm lucky. I have all you guys as my friends. Yeah. Oh, I have senior moments all the time, Ernie, and I'm not even a senior. So I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go down. I Oh, you shut. No, Jeremy, we can't even. Yeah, I've been there. I feel. Are we gonna do a collaboration now? Because oh my God, I love the. Are you gonna be there? Oh, okay. All right. I gotta know. Now I gotta know. Okay. Stay around to the end after the spirit, and maybe I can drop a link and you can come up and tell me about it. Would you like to do that, Jeremy? I don't mind. I can drop you a StreamYard link if you want to come up here. You don't have to have cam on or anything. You could just pop up and talk. Because the Villisca Ax murder case, I've been down that rabbit hole and I've read so many books. So, yeah. Here, I'm gonna pop some stuff off of there. There we go. And Darlene, Darlene is she cracks the whip. We're all very nice, but if you come in acting silly and goofy, you're gonna get a timeout, and then then I feed you to Darlene, and we can't control Darlene, and whatever Darlene does, that's it. So, I gotta know adventures. Okay, Jeremy, I gotta know about this. All right, let's talk about this. Let me get to yeah. See, I'm already getting all excited because you said Villisca, and that's it. That's it for me. All right, yeah, Darlene, we'll feed you to Darlene. We'll feed you to the wolves. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys something here that I found, and I'm pretty darn excited about it. So hold on to your pants. But that is Andrew Gagel and his wife, Emma, that I talked about on Tuesday night. And she is absolutely, she is everything. She's just gorgeous. That hair, oh my gosh. He kind of looks like I expected him to. This is not the only photo I have of them. So I'm probably gonna do a little bit more digging. I think I'm gonna find some more of his headstones, some more sculptures. And I think I'm gonna come back with and do we'll do like a whole episode on him at some point. But I am fully prepared now. And it was like 3 a.m. and Darlene, He kinda does look like yeah, TF, you always need a timeout. We just let you do what you do. It's fine. And isn't she is she's beautiful. She's like, yeah, she's that 1880s it girl, like, just the hair. Yeah, she's awesome. He actually you know who he has that Edgar Allan Poe thing going on, which I kinda find sexy. So, yeah, I mean, but but Darlene's right, he's kinda got that John Wilkes Booth thing going too. But I'm gonna say Edgar Allan Poe because maybe it's the stash, but I like him. He looks exactly like I think an artist should look like, and I found out a whole lot more about his life and the sketches that I showed you, so, like, I'm getting all excited. But, yeah, so I found out a lot more about his life and art school and where he traveled. So, I think I'm going to yeah, like I said, I think I'm gonna pull it all together somehow, and we'll go back and maybe in, like, a month or so when everybody's kind of forgotten that I've already talked about him once, we'll go back and talk about him again. So and it's very odd because the person who posted these photos online just accidentally found them at a I think she said in Kentucky, of all places, um, at like a I don't know if it was an estate sale or like a junk shop kind of situation. So, but whatever, it was just an accident that she got a hold of them. She just bought I guess there was a thing of photos, like a box of photos. She bought the box of photos. I've done this. I don't know how many of you guys do this. I go to estate sales or garage sales, whatever, right? And if there's a box of old photos, I wanna make it mine because I just and the older the better. Usually, right there, it's just a pile of them in there. They're not labeled. There's no names on it because our our ancestors must have just thought we were all gonna know who these people were, and you don't. Um, and yeah, I think let's go. And Jen says, or Ernie says, yeah, she's kind of got that. I don't know. I think Amy Winehouse had a, sh- yeah, I think something crawled up there and was living in her hair. But I mean, I love Amy. Don't get me wrong, but that style just wouldn't work on me. But yeah, let's go with Poe. I love I love Edgar Allan Poe, and he's got that tortured artist look about him too a little bit, but, alright, so this is Andrew and his wife, Emma, and I'm gonna talk more about him. Hang on. Also, I went to Culver's today because it was shrimp day, so it's Friday. So, um, and I'm gonna take him off, and I think we'll get started, so we're gonna get to alright, are you guys ready? We're gonna get to the more serious part of tonight's show. As serious as I well, yeah, serious as I can be. I'm very excited about this because I have and then where did my notes go? There we go. Alright. So, my little local cemetery where my mom is buried Darling, make sure I'm drinking here. I probably should take a big one before I should not be drinking soda this late at night. I'll be up all night again. Um, our local cemetery is it serves a small country community. The oldest grave in the cemetery, I think, is I wanna say 1874, I believe. Um, the woman died, and she actually would have lived the property across the street when it's all state land now, but it would have been, cut up into like 20-acre segments at that time. So she lived on one of these segments. It would have been on one of these parcel of lands across the road from us. But she was the first burial in this little cemetery. And there's like 3 sections. So you have a driveway that comes down the middle and it goes to the back. And then you have 2 driveways that go out on either side. And then there's graves all in the middle of those sections. Now, at one point, they started to think, "Oh, we've got this." I'm going to say, what is it? I think that is the west side of the cemetery. There's not very many headstones over there, and it doesn't mean that there's not anybody buried there. But the people at the time, I believe this was in the 90s, early 2000s, they went to they thought it was open. So they went to dig a grave and they found a bunch of remains. So just because there were no headstones, um, didn't mean there weren't any burials there. And what I believe that section of the cemetery, and I'm only gonna guess, but I'm almost positive that that's what this is, because the gentleman one of the very few headstones in that front section is the man who used to own the property that I live on. And I think I've talked about him, like maybe he's one of our ghosts around here. He got this property. He was in the Civil War. He was African American. He was free. He came from his parents were both slaves at one point in their lives. But when it came time, I believe there were 12 or 13 of his siblings, and they all went off and they fought in the Civil War. All the men, they all enlisted, they all fought, and when they finished, they were all given 20 acres of land, and this was his 20 acres. And he lived here. One of his brothers came and stayed for a while with his wife and children, and within a year, they had to have a structure for like a home. And when I say home, we're not talking fancy. This is 1879 Michigan. This is the frontier, essentially. There's nothing out here but woods for miles. And they had to build a structure for them to live on. So it would have been a very simple log cabin structure. And then eventually they started to build the house where I grew up in. So, as I said, they're African American, and where he is buried in the cemetery. Now eventually moves from this plot. Somebody else comes in and lives here, and he actually buys a piece of property right across from where the cemetery is. And that is where he passes away. Where he is buried in the cemetery, that is where I believe there used to be a lot of African Americans in this area in that time after the Civil War. Anyone who fought for the Union, they would have been given their 20 acres. And I look back and I found quite a few of them, like in the 1880 census records. There were several families. You wouldn't know that by looking around here now. So I think it kind of shocked all the white people in this area who thought, "Oh, there's no it's only white people around here." Well, that wasn't always true. They've completely forgot about who actually were the first pioneers in our area. So that section of the cemetery is probably where all the African Americans were buried. So they wouldn't have been on the same side of the cemetery as the other ones. So even in death, they were segregated. So this little cemetery, it's little. You might pull up in it and be like, "Oh, there's nothing cool here." But we've got that story, which doesn't even get talked about like a lot of these stories do, right? Yeah, because they want to forget about stuff like that. But if you don't go looking, like there's all these people that have been forgotten. all these people, these pioneers that came here, they pulled, they made this land what it was. They made it livable. They built homes. They're the ones that were picking the giant rocks and everything up out of the cemeteries. And I know for Martin is the gentleman that lived here. He was the first owner of the property. His brother Jason lost, I think they lost like 10 children from various things, diphtheria, cholera, those things just, yeah, they went through this area. And I mean, just like we talked about in Chicago, it, you just, not very many ever survived them. So we have his children all have tiny little headstones. And, but like I said, there's several other ones out there that, yeah, there's no markers for them. How they did not get on the burial records, I don't know. And I'm just telling you all of this because it just gives you a little bit of backstory to the cemetery, where I'm going to show you where I first learned about what spirit houses were. And so, like I said, the white people in this area were a little shocked that there were so much property was owned by African Americans. Mr. Martin, who lived here, he's when you pull into the middle driveway, he's the first headstone on the right, and to the left is actually the next bigger headstone is the second gentleman that lived in our house, and he was a pharmacist and a pretty well-to-do guy. So you see these two guys, but if you didn't know and didn't go look, you would not know all this history about this little cemetery. And then you drive to the back and you see this little house. And you could almost think, yeah, is this like a little birdhouse? Because look, there's a little hole there, right? There's a tree that's been planted. And this is so the first front section, like I said, they found out, oh shoot, we can't dig here because we just don't know who's buried here anymore. So it's off limits. So then they start using the back section here. And sadly, one of the very first people to be buried in the new section was this little girl. And she was just 6 years old. And I'll tell you a little bit more about her at the I don't know how to put her in here. Well, I'll just start with her story. So she was just 6 years old, and she was in a car accident, and it was a pretty significant one, and she did not survive the accident. And as you can imagine, or do not want to ever imagine how devastating a loss that is for a family. And this family does have Native American roots. I'll show you their headstone here in a moment. If you've already seen the short that I made on it, uh, you would have already seen the headstone. But this was not a tradition I knew about, and I thought I knew a lot about graves and cemeteries, even back when she passed away, which was in 2004. And when this structure was put on this grave, people had what's the best word? A meltdown, because they're like, "Whoa, what? You can't build that you can't have that in our pretty cute little old cemetery, right? You can have a headstone and you can put some flowers and you can put an urn on it, right? That's all you can do. You can't do this, like." And yeah, it didn't look like this when it initially was put on there. Like I said, this was 2004. So it's been there a while, and I've watched it gradually start to decay. But when it was first put up, it was pristine, and I mean, it really did look like kind of like a birdhouse yeah, it really did. And people just didn't understand it. Because, like I said, it's just a bunch of white people around here. Nobody knows, they don't know anything. And they're like, you can't have that on this grave. And I mean, I'm telling you, when white people lose their mind about stuff that they don't understand, they really lose their mind. And this is a Native American tradition, one that is primarily in the Great Lakes region. And I'll talk a little bit more about the tribes and the descendants and who started it and how it may have started. But so this little girl, her name, I hope I'm going to pronounce it right, but I think it's Rhiannon, but there's an O in it, so I just don't want to say her name improperly, but I'm going to say Rhiannon. I could be wrong. She was born in 1998, and then she passed away the 24th of December, 2004. So right at Christmas. And her father, Jonathan, and her mother, Sharon, they had, in the obituary, it states they had one other child. So they do have a son. And as I said, the cause of death was from a car accident. Totally unexpected. They lost their child and they bury their child. And then they put up this little structure. People lose their minds. That can't be here. You got to get rid of it. Well, they're Native American and they had to actually go and fight to be able to keep this on the grave. And here it has sat. It didn't get taken down. Thank God. Because I think I learned about him, and I'm going to teach you guys a little what I know about him. And I think it's beautiful. Every time I go, I always kind of go back to, and I just go back and say a little hello to her. Even though the tradition is the Native American tradition, she would know her spirit is no longer there. I still go, just like I do with everyone else at headstones I go see. I always just kind of go visit her. She's one of my favorites there. And just because she was so young, just a sweet little baby. I did find a photo of her. I'm a little hesitant about posting it. I'm going to think about it. I do have it on the very last slide. So maybe by the end, I'll just show it briefly. But she was adorable. And I can't imagine what the parents went through. But so here sits the one and only spirit house that I've ever physically been near. And I want to see more. And there are more all over around Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and I even found some as far away as Alaska. So there are other places that you can go to see them. And I'm going to show you some photos of Rihanna's grave. So here's the headstone. So she does have a traditional headstone, and her parents are going to be buried beside her. They're still alive. And as you can see, there's a little round hole in the front. And there used to be a little ledge that sat there on the front, like just a little flat ledge. But that little board has since, I don't know what happened to it. At some point, it just fell off and could have blown away. But she is the only one out in this section. On the far west of this is a handful of graves, and on the far east, there's a handful of them. But she's the only one that's like right down the middle. So it sticks out. Like I don't know how people miss it. But and we do have these cactus. They grow. These are native to Michigan. They're all over in our cemetery, so you can't walk out here without don't walk out here without flip-flops on. They will get you. And here's a little more. So as you can see, it is pretty well constructed too. and it's starting to fall apart a little bit, but these I don't believe the intention with this one, I don't think it's meant to be maintained. Uh, I'm not 100% sure, I don't know the family, so but there it is, so you can see this is looking west, so the little hole in the spirit house is on the west side, and you can see there's just a few burials that are over there, and she's pretty much all by herself here. And there she is, dad and mom. Alright. So, with that, she's what got me interested in learning about spirit houses, and I wanna say it's a s it's a somewhat rare tradition, and I think it was allowed to lapse, and it seems to be getting a little bit of a revival, which I think is amazing. I There's several cemeteries now, and I'm gonna show you a couple of them that are doing this again, and I think it's great. Hang on. Alright. So, like I said, this is pretty much these cemeteries are in and around the Great Lakes. So we have Minnesota, we have Wisconsin, we have Michigan, which has 2 peninsulas. We have, the Lower Peninsula, the one I live in, the one that's like this, and then we have the Upper Peninsula. Wait, yeah, I can't do it right on the camera. There are a lot of them up in we call it the UP. So when I say the UP, I mean the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I also found that it said there are some in Ontario, but I could not find them. So I'm not sure if that's just a misprint in the article that I was reading, but I wasn't able to locate any of those cemeteries because I was trying to find us an example of one from these different locations. But to actually see these not on tribal land is very rare. So the one at my local cemetery, it's probably 1 in a million. The only way you're probably gonna see them is if you go to the ones that and actually a few of them are on tribal land, so you can't go on them. It's not like a regular cemetery like our cemeteries where you could just go and wander around. Many of them are off limits, so I'm gonna let you know that. But which is kinda makes this one at my local cemetery nice because you can go look at it, you can see it, right? Like, it's there. All the other ones you're probably gonna be a little bit far away from, like, you have to stand at a fence to look at. So, they're called spirit houses or grave houses, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm only gonna say it once because after this, I'm just gonna call it spirit houses. It is Jiibegamig. So, it's Jiibegamig is the Native American term for these, and it means, house of the spirit or something along those lines. But I'm just gonna call it spirit houses because 'cause I'm probably even though I've said it right just now, it probably won't come out right later, and I don't wanna mess this up. So, these are let me go back I gotta go back to a photo of it here. Yeah, there we go, that one works. So, what is a spirit house? It's a small and it's usually gabled, so it has a little roof on it, and this is built directly over a Native American grave. And this is used by the descendants of a particular tribe. Uh-oh, I lost my notes. Hang on, guys. Why did it oh, no. Okay, there we go. Um, the Anishinaabe tribe, they actually came from the West and settled in the Great Lakes region, and the Anishinaabe, they're called the original people. And from them, the tribes of the Ojibwe, the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi, that is who are descended from the original people. And so these are the tribes that you will primarily see this custom being used for. And they do look like, I think they kind of look like a little miniature log cabin. Some people call them like they look like a little birdhouse. But they're built surprisingly well that this has been out there in the elements for so long and it's still there. Just a few little slats off the roof are missing. But so they're built and I love this, guys. So in the Native American tradition, in the tribes that I mentioned, they believe that the spirit actually stays close to the body for 4 days after death. And the spirit needs shelter. So this little house is constructed to shelter the spirit during their transition from this world to the next. And it is built to fit exactly on above the person in the grave. And what happens, they will come, they bring offerings and even personal items. They'll bring tobacco, tools, and like I said, little personal items. There's some little things that have been left here around hers, little toys and things. Those may actually just be people that come to visit that do that. But so they'll bring food offerings, tobacco, tools, things of that nature. And these are supposed to help the spirit in the next world. And a practical reason for this is also it would help protect the body from predators and animals. So there is also a very real reason, a legit reason they want to protect the body as well. So what it represents is care, protection, and the passing from one world to the next. And they're designed to return to the earth over time. They're not meant to be permanent. And I found this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it when I talk about the similar structures with the Alaskan tribes. But it's thought that this is actually a blending of traditional Native American spiritual beliefs, but also blending in some Christian burial customs. So, with that, the first 4 days, the family comes and they bring their food offerings, they bring sentimental items, tools, tobacco, like I said. And this is for the spirit's journey into the afterlife. And the house is that physical reminder that that spirit is still near them, that they're not gone yet. They're still there. They're still waiting. And this is, I really like this. This is a quote. And part of the reason I titled the show the way I did. And I'll post this article. It'll be in the show notes so you guys can go read it. It says, over time, it becomes part of the landscape, a kind of wooden echo of the person's journey. I really like that. I thought it says a lot. So I've already talked about where they appear. We have Michigan in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We have Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ontario. And then we also have a few in Alaska. And mostly these are on tribal lands, so you're not gonna probably see these unless you're a member of the tribe, or they're in a private cemetery. So how they're built of wood, first and foremost. Typically in in the past, they were birch, and that had sentimental and meaning to the Native Americans. However, they've also used cedar, pine, or whatever the family had available would be what these are made of. So if they didn't have birch trees, if they only had cedars and pines, that's what they used. There is one that I'm going to talk about later, one of the ones in Wisconsin, and they're primarily birch because there's a lot of birch trees that grow around there. So, and commonly there's a small little opening, a little round hole, and underneath the little hole will be a ledge, and that is where the offerings are placed on. Sometimes they're painted, other times they're left just natural, like this one has been. And as I said before, they're sized to fit directly over the top of the person inside the grave. And if you see them weathered like this, if they're leaning, that is what is meant to happen. Don't touch them. All right. And I'm going to leave it with that there. I'll talk a little bit more about them here in a sec, but I want to show you a couple different places. And the first one is the Anishinaabe Pinery Indian Cemetery. And this is up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and it's near Lawns. And it's in Baraga County, and it's kind of the northeast part, so it's up in the near Lake Superior. I don't have a map, but if you want to look it up, that's where you'll find it. And Lawns, the name of the place, means the cove, and it's French. So there would have been, in this area, there were a lot of French. They were up there trapping for furs, things of that nature, and they actually blended in with the Native Americans in the area at the time. So the Pinery Indian Cemetery, this has been a burial ground for the Anishinaabe since the 1600s. And the features in this one, they're going to look pretty similar to the one I've already shown you that are at my local cemetery. They're all roughly about the same height. They're all about 2 feet tall, and they have the little peaked roofs. Sometimes the shingles are a little bit different. And I think this one you can actually visit. I didn't put in here that it was closed. I tried to make a note if they were open, but there are new burials going on in here, so I think you can visit. And I'll show you some more photos. I see you guys. I see Jeremy has, when I was a kid, I had 2 fascinations. They were dinosaurs and Native Americans. I did too. And for this reason, because when Darlene said this, arrowheads, we used to find them on the back end of our property. We had this little sand dune, and because there's a lot of sand out here. We're on the lake shore. So we would find arrowheads all the time, and I was always fascinated. So, but when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot of Native American influences around. We did have a powwow that occurred like once a year. I never got to go, and I would love to go to one once, even though, I mean, obviously I'm very white. I would still love to go. I think they're beautiful. So I'm still fascinated, obviously. And Darlene's, yeah. So all of this is to help the spirit transition into the next world. It's beautiful. I don't know what else I can say about it. I'm gonna just keep saying, yeah, how beautiful they are. And this is it, right? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust type of thing. So they just go back to earth. Anything that I believe I'll hit on this a little later when I talk about the Alaskan tribes, because their belief is anything that comes to the earth, comes from the earth, must be returned to the earth. And I love that. Which kind of one of the reasons I want to be cremated. So we'll just get it over with a little quicker. But this is pretty much, and you can see some of these, that one probably got turned or something, but they all look very similar to the same one, to the one here in mine. And these are a little bit, you can tell this one's probably been there for a while. Definitely this one. I think the older they are, I think the more I like them. I think these are just beautiful. And behind it, in the photo behind it, you can see the only thing that's left of the one behind it is just a base. So it's already almost gone. And now sometimes you will see, like the one I showed you, some of them will have a headstone, just like the one here at my local cemetery. The parents put one there and they have, their names on either side of their daughters, which is very sweet. So some of them will have a tradition, drink. Some of them will have a traditional headstone, but some don't, like this one. So once it's gone, once it becomes part of the earth again, that's it. There's no more marker, and that person's trace, it's not right, like it's left the earth. Okay, so that was the Anishinaabe Pinery Indian Cemetery. And the next one I have to show you is another one that is also in Michigan. And it's goes by a couple names. Old Indian Burial Ground or Bay Mills Old Indian Burial Ground, and it's also called the Brimley Indian Burial Ground. I think if you're up in that area by Brimley, just say, "Hey, where's the old Indian burial ground?" And they'll probably show you. But this is in northern Chippewa County. Again, up at the top of the Upper Peninsula. So we're looking at like Lake Superior region. And this one was established in about 1841. This one is closed to the public. You cannot enter here. And you can see there's some headstones, some very old headstones. They've got them boxed in. They've got a frame around them, and it looks like they're even propping that one up. So they do have some traditional markers, but then they have all these little spirit houses as well. And some of them don't look too terribly old. But I think this is considered tribal land. So it's probably why it's closed to the public. You're not allowed. They probably only go there for the burials. This one I think this one, if I remember right, I think this one had the most of the spirit houses, and a lot of them look much newer. So I think this is still an active cemetery. It's really hard to find exact information on them. I probably could if I contacted the tribes. They probably would give me some more information, but there just wasn't a whole lot. So, because those are the things I always ask, are there people still being buried there? But obviously, I mean, those are newer spirit houses, so I'm going to assume that they're still burying people here. And on all of these, you can see there's a small little round hole in them. And that is for the spirit to escape. And I think I might have, did I? Yeah, I think I went over that part. But so they believe so. The little hole, and as I said, with the young girl's spirit house here near me, it's pointing to the west. So all of these are probably pointing to the west too. I don't know what the orientation of the cemetery is, but they're probably all pointing to the west. And that is where the spirit will come out, that small opening, and then it continues on till its journey into the afterlife. And made some more. I don't see any shelves on these, but sometimes they would just leave the offerings. One article I read said that they actually would put the offerings through the little hole, and some said they would lay them on the ground, and some said that they would put them on a ledge outside of them. All right. And you can photograph if you'd like, if you go here. However, you have to do it from the fence line. And you can see there's, these are just beautiful. All right. I don't want to ignore your guys' comments here. Yeah, it's not a lot of headstones because, right, like they think you go back to the earth. The tribe, when I talk about Alaska, that's their belief is, you come from the earth, you go back to the earth, and when that's gone, you've returned. So I think I like the symbolism. I absolutely like, yeah. My mom was always fascinated with this little spirit house. She was one of the people that was like, "Shut up, let them put their let them do that." I mean, I've gone to cemeteries where people have all kinds of stuff on a grave, right? Like they've got planters and whirligigs and whatever that they decorate their, and that's, you know what? They pay a lot of money for that plot, and whatever helps them get through their grief and to mourn their loved one, let them do it. And here's this beautiful little house, right? And people lose their minds because they don't understand it. And it's typically what happens. If they don't understand it, they're going to lose their minds. Let's see. Oh, are you talking about the movies? I was like, wait, I'm trying to figure that one out. I'll have to come back to it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, if I want more information, I'd have to talk to the tribes. But I mean, I was actually pretty shocked that there was as much information as I found without having to like directly go to some sort of tribal website. So, and these are beautiful. I definitely historic. I think more people, like I said, if I hadn't known about this little one down here, I probably never would have known about it. And it's a beautiful tradition. It's, I talk about cemeteries all the time, and I wish there were more of these. I almost kind of want a spirit house when I die. I love the symbolism of it. And the next one this is LaPoint Indian Cemetery. And now we're over on the other side of Lake Michigan. So actually, we're in Lake Superior, but we're over on the other side now. And LaPoint Indian Cemetery, and then it's also called St. Joseph Mission Cemetery. And this one was established 1836. And it is on the National Register of Historic Places. And it is just outside the town of LaPoint, Wisconsin. And it is on an island, which I think is so cool. It's called Madeline Island. And it is the largest of the Apostle Islands, up in Lake Superior. Check them out. It's amazing. They're very beautiful. If you guys ever get a chance to go up there, go check them out. It's just beautiful up there. Um, Now this is an old photo. It said this was from 1910. And you can see the custom has been going on a very long time. So this isn't something that they just made up, right? Because they want to put it on a kid's grave here. It's obviously something that's been going on for many generations. And everybody that is in this cemetery is either full or partial Native American. You have to have some sort of native blood in order to be buried in this cemetery. And this cemetery, when I looked it up, they actually said that these spirit houses are due to French influence, which I found interesting because I've talked a lot about New Orleans recently, and we were talking about, I mean, if you look at the shape of these, right? And I talked about the crypts down in Louisiana around New Orleans, and those are due to French and Spanish influence. And then I see these and I'm like, "Whoa." I can see how maybe this is that blending of the spiritual Native Americans with the white man's Christianity. Like they've blended all this together. And like I said, this area, a lot of French up in here at one time. We had all the fur trappers, Michigan. There's a lot of towns with French names all up along. Um, Up in the UP, Wisconsin, LaPoint. Um, and this said, and I'm kind of doubtful about this statement. Here's another old photo of it. This one was I believe this was from 1910 too. But I have some questions because it says this is the only cemetery in the US with a significant number of surviving original spirit houses. So I'm not 100% sure what they mean by, since they do just go back to the earth, I'm not sure what they mean, like the original, like the ones still standing from 100 years ago. But I s- the other cemeteries we looked at had a lot more spirit houses. So I'm a little confused by their statement, but I thought I would let you guys know it anyway. One very cool thing about this, and I am not going to try to pronounce this chief's name, as I've got the tribe names right, but I'm probably not going to get his right. I don't, like I said, I don't want no bad juju. And you can see some of these look a little different. And these, like a few of these in the cemetery, it looks more like they've got a little fence around them, but it's the same type of structure. It's the same tradition, just looks a little different. And that just might be that particular tribe at the time too. It just maybe their personal, like what they did. Yeah. I think these look really, now I've seen some similar to these down in Florida when I was looking up spirit houses, and these were primarily built to keep predators out. So I'm not sure if this is more of a grave house to protect the grave, or if it's a true spirit house. So, but I threw the photo in there anyway, since it does show up on their website. There is actual headstones in this cemetery as well, and this is the burial site of the chief Great Buffalo. And he lived from 1759 to 1855. And I think that's pretty good long age back then. Um, I really wanna here. I think it's Keshawake is Chief Keshawake. If I said it wrong, please do not be angry with me, please. But he is buried here. He signed a big treaty. There's a whole history with him. I didn't put all of that in my notes, but directly across, there's a little road with this cemetery. Directly across from it, there's 4 pine trees, marks the grave of Little Buffalo, who was his son, and he's the only one that's buried in that. And there's just 4 pine trees that mark his burial location, and he passed away before Great Buffalo did. All right. I think that's the last. Yep, that's the last photo on this one. Jeremy, I I wanted to put some music to this, some Native American music, but I was a little afraid because everything I found looked like it might have been copyrighted. So I was just like, "Ugh," but I wanted to. All right. The next one. Now these are the tradition in this particular tribe is a little bit different. And that's why I included them in here because I wanted to show some differences in them. But this is called History Land Cemetery, and this is located near Hayward, and it's Sawyer County, Wisconsin. There are several of these little cemeteries, with spirit houses, Native American cemeteries up here. So this is just the one that had the most information on it, so this is the one I picked. Apparently also, these are supposed to be haunted. Just gonna throw that out there. Apparently, you go out kids, like to prank each other if you can go sit out here by yourself. Um, yeah. Which, I don't know. I would be less worried about these places because if the spirit's supposed to go in 4 days, you should be fine. I wouldn't be out there on any other day, but, um, I think this one I think you can visit this one too. Um, so this is the, Ojibwe, and once again, they believe too, you place it right over the top of the grave of the person. Sometimes there'll be I heard that the Ojibwe, they actually have a burial mound underneath it, and then the structure is placed over, um, that is placed over the mound. So when the spirit house eventually does fall in, it falls on that mound, and there's still a mound there to mark the grave. And this one, if you can see on the top of the one, there's like ribbons and some colored streamer stuff. These are traditional clan markers. So each tribe has their little clans. And apparently, the Ojibwe are trying to resurrect this tradition. I think it's sort of like the Scottish clans. It seems very similar. You have one people, so you have the Ojibwe people, but then you have these little sects, and those are clans. And each one of these spirit houses would be marked with their clan's traditional markers or their markings, which I find very cool. Being Scottish, right? You think he'd come and put your tartan or something over the top of it, which is essentially what they're doing. It's marking their family or their clan. And the grave, sometimes there will be a traditional, not a, a headstone marking the grave. But there'll also be, and I'm getting so many words right. I don't want to make this the first one I say wrong. It's called a dudem, and this is a clan sign. And so each of the grave markers, it's going to be inscribed with the duedem. So the clan sign will be actually inscribed on the grave marker. And I think there were some other ones. Can't remember. Thought I had some photos. Yeah, these get really, and in this one you can see that there's some that are starting to fall in over here on the right hand side, and you can see the decoration. There's a lot more decorations on these than, and hello Sherlock, I see you. Pop you up. You guys pop in when I'm in the middle of my conversations. Darlene, they look like a longhouse. That's what I was trying to think of, like what. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, like a longhouse. And I'm gonna go down. Hello, Sam, and welcome. All right. And yep, it's like they're tartan. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going now that I've caught up on the chat. And as you can see, there's a lot of them in this cemetery. Another reason I picked this cemetery to show you guys, because there's a lot of them here. So I'm still confused with that other one saying that they had the most original ones. But okay. And with that, so those are the majority. There's several other locations in and around. There's a few more in northern Michigan that you can go see. If you want, just type in Native American spirit houses, Michigan, Wisconsin, whichever state you want to go to, and you'll get a bunch of results, because that's what I did. And then I just kind of started going through and, just learning about them, each one of them. And if you guys are familiar with Find a Grave, you can just go to Find a Grave too. A lot of these are on there. Okay, so I did tell you that they're not just around the Great Lakes. Apparently there are some, I think most of them were called grave houses. The ones I saw there were some in Florida, there were some in Oklahoma, but they looked more like they were protecting the grave. They didn't really look like the spirit house. So I didn't include them in here just for that reason, because they did look more like protection than a place for the spirit. But when I looked at these in Alaska, and I thought, like, well, that's kind of weird, because I know there's a lot of Russian Orthodox in Alaska. And I'm like, how is that working with the Native American beliefs or the indigenous people beliefs? So this is St. Nicholas Church. And this is the Dina Ina. And I have to slow down when I say these. And the Athabascan tribes that are in this area. And it's about 25 miles outside of Anchorage. And it's the Eklutna Historical Park. And this cemetery is the most famous part of the park. And it has, besides this church, which is Russian Orthodox, it has spirit houses. And there are over 100 of them. And some of these have little windows. I think they're little, yeah, I'm going to say they're windows too. Some of them, they look like little dog houses. I think they're pretty cute. But the difference with these are a little different than our other spirit houses, because the size of the house actually reflects the status of the person who is buried under it. Now, our other ones, here in the Great Lakes region, they're just right, like they fit right over the top of the person buried in the grave. But these, if you're high up in the community, you could have a pretty big house, big spirit, because you got a big spirit, I guess, right? So you got to have a big house to hold that in there, I guess. And if you're just a little person, you get a little tiny one. I'll probably end up getting a little tiny one. But the history with this area, so there's St. Nicholas Orthodox Church, and we have missionaries that came in to the area in the 1830s. So this tradition started between the 1830s and the 1850s. So it's linked with being a unique blend of the indigenous, the Dina and the Russian Orthodox traditions. So it was a way, kind of like when I talked about St. Patrick when he went to Ireland to convert the pagans, using some of their belief systems and just incorporating Christianity into right? You make them feel comfortable. You don't want to take everything away, kind of blend things together. And that's what's happened here. So they blended these traditions together, and before the Russian Orthodox missionaries arrived, um, the the Athabascans, they cremated all of their dead. So they were not into burying or any of that. Everybody was cremated. And kind of look at these houses. And again, I start that they're not like a little mini crematorium like the ones down in New Orleans are, but that's, I still get that vibe off of them. Like they're those little, it's just a little, like a tomb. And like I said, the size of the house will reflect the individual's social status. And you can see all these bright colors that are on there. These are their family colors. So similar to, like I said, I mentioned the tartans in Scotland. Each family has their own colors. And these will be for generations and generations. They don't just make them up. They've had them for years and years. And this looks like a little bit more of a newer one. And I'm going to go there. That's the photo I was looking for. And you can see they're bright. You're not going to miss these. Some of them have a lot of little holes in them. Some of them have slats. Some of them are more solid with just a little opening or a little door in them. Now, with this tribe, they actually believe that, so for the first 4 days, hang on, I got to get my place back. Yep, okay. So when the person initially is buried, they have their mound, and a blanket is placed over the mound, and it's probably a blanket like representing the family, probably with the family colors, something of that nature, and provide warmth and comfort for the soul. And then after 40 days pass, then they build the spirit house. And as I said with the other ones, this with the Athabascans, this is their belief. Anything taken from the earth returns to the earth. So there is no maintenance ever done on these. They're left. They'll fall in, things blow off. That's it. They don't go touch them up, the paint jobs. Yeah, everything is just left as is, and it goes back to the earth. And I really like the idea of the blanket um, over the burial mound. I thought that was very touching. Almost kinda got woo, I got a little caught with that one, but yeah, it has, definitely some big spirit energy, right? And I think these are the coolest ones. I like color. They kinda remind me of I don't wanna like, is it Greece that has don't they have all the brightly painted, like, the blue and white houses, and they have all the colors? It seems like one of the Grecian islands, and I can't remember, which one, but as you can see, there's all sorts this they have a lot more variety than the ones over here in the Great Lakes, but and I actually kinda think, "Hey, I think they do it a little better." Kinda like their idea. And yeah, Sherlock, it probably does get a little chilly without skin, so you probably wanna have that blanket over your grave, keep your spirit warm. Um, so the whole thing with there's no maintenance done, right? It just that is, a reflection of the cycle of life. So, right, they build the house, it's like your birth, and then it slowly fades away, and then it's nothing. And that's why they don't do anything with maintenance for the spirit houses. Um, alright, and I don't did I have some might have another photo. Sometimes I forget how many photos I put in here and where. Um, alright, and this is our little girl. So this is the spirit house that's down the road here from me. And this is Rhiannon, the little girl who is under whose grave this sits on. And I'm gonna talk just a few couple other things. So care and respect is just as important in Native American cemeteries as they are in our regular people cemeteries. Everyone else. Um, these are sacred structures. They're not displays. So do not touch them. Do not. Don't open them. Don't be peeking inside, even no matter how much you want to, just don't. And if you see something, like say one of these slats is hanging off of there, don't touch it. It's meant to be doing that. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to put it back where it was. You leave it. Leave it alone. That is the tradition. And there's one important thing because I know I've mentioned that you can go ahead, you walk across a grave if you have to, just be respectful. However, if there is a mound, do not walk on it. I think this may be a safety thing as well because some of these, this one has a vault beneath it because it's required. But on tribal lands, I'm not sure if they go by this, they probably go by a different set of burial rules. So they might not have a vault. So do not go step on it. It's bad luck for one thing, according to the Native American tradition. And also, you could probably eh, maybe fall in a hole. Yeah, just don't do it. Um, in the past, a lot of these have been disturbed because people are dumb. When I say, because I've already talked about the people in my area who didn't really understand what this was and what it represented to the family. So a lot of these little cemeteries, I actually read about one in Wisconsin where they dug everyone up, they tore down all the structures, They dug everyone up and put them in a mass grave in a traditional white man cemetery. And now they have some it looked like they were trying to I don't know if they're trying to move them back to where they were or what, but there's still some disagreements going on about that, and I'm probably gonna touch on that, that'll probably be another episode. There was a lot of information that I couldn't get into with this one, and it broke my heart because I can't imagine, um, just somebody walking into my where my mom is buried and other family members and just, like, digging it not even asking, just digging everybody up, right? And then taking them someplace like, they put them. I don't know, some cemetery where doesn't reflect our values or whatever, not that it would probably even really matter, but and then just put everybody in a mass grave. Like, no names, nothing. That breaks my heart. So I probably am gonna pull that up and probably talk about it at some point. It angers me, just as much as finding out that somebody put a high school on top of a pauper cemetery or something, and they just took the stones out and just built on top of it. Um, but there are now, thank God, there is a thing called the Native American Graves Protection and Repetition. Wait. Uh-oh. Where did I put it? Well, anyway, yeah, Protection Act. Hang on. Um, so there's preservation efforts that are underway by the tribe's cultural offices are in charge of these. So, like I said, typically these are on tribal lands. If they are not, I want to look more into it because I'm wondering if there is a cemetery that is primarily Native American burials, if it would be turned over to the tribe, if it's not considered their property already. I want to. I just didn't have time to look into all the legalities of everything, but because I'm just going to talk about the spirit houses. But so, like I said, many of these are just kind of left decay, but some of them, some of the little individual groups of the tribes, they maintain these. They go in and they will they'll fix them up and keep them standing while others just let them go. So I guess whichever one the tribe wants to do, that's what they'll do. So, okay. And did I have one more? Oh, that little girl, she's just a sweetheart. Um, I think that's about all I have. Yep. All right, that is all I have for I did have a couple. Oh, here. I did kind of okay. There's a couple of things that I read that I put together, and I thought these are really nice. I like the points that were made. Um, like with it made me think. I still think about this lone little spirit house down here at our cemetery, and this beautiful little baby, and how people got so up in arms about this little structure. Right? It's tiny. Um, but this should remind us that just like with anything in a cemetery, they're not for just for the dead. They're for the living as well. This is where people will go as part of their grieving process. And they're going to go. This is the last connection they may have with the person, with their loved one. And as I said, like the Native American tradition is to go and leave offerings, for their soul's journey. These are important things for their process to help them let go. And they believe for that 4 days that their loved one is still there with them. And I really love that idea. Losing my mom, I don't like the idea of thinking she's, like, down in the like, I have to talk to her down in a cemetery. Like, you can talk to them anywhere you want to. But I do like that the that the gravesite can represent that person is still a presence in your life. Even though they're gone, their presence is still there with you. So, in situations like this, I don't care what you wanna put on. I think these are beautiful. I love the tradition, I love the culture. It's beautiful. Whatever people wanna put on a grave that helps them with their grieving process, let them. They've lost somebody, we're all gonna lose somebody, we've all lost somebody. It's just the way life is. And if people want to put just simple stuff up, just wanna leave some flowers, well, that's fine, that's their choice, but other people, you know, like I said, there's no difference, and I actually think this is more beautiful than probably anything I've ever seen. Even the big beautiful mausoleum, right, like in New Orleans, the big crypts. I think this is the most beautiful of anything I've ever seen on somebody's grave. Uh, yeah, with the moss and everything on it, it's just yeah, and just knowing that a beautiful little soul taken far too soon is beneath it, and that people wanted to right, like, they're gonna dictate how parents are gonna mourn their daughter. Nah. Um, but fortunately, that didn't happen, and they did get to build their spirit house, and it's still there, and slowly, but yeah, eventually it will go back, but I'll keep if you guys want, I'll keep going down. I go down anyway because it's like it's literally right down the road from me. So, I'll go down and take photos of it, but, little Rihanna, I hope she's resting in peace. I hope her spirit, um well, according to their tradition, she would have already made it over to the afterlife, so and I'm sure they gave her lots of little things to take with her. Alright, I'm gonna close that, and alright. Gonna breathe a little bit. Here, I'm gonna add this for anybody that missed it, because this makes me a little this helps. I'm gonna go and read some of your comments. I just wanted to take Rihanna's picture down just 'cause, I don't want anybody getting upset. Alright, I'm gonna go down. I think I missed some good this is a good question. I saw this, Jen. Does the entire family partake in the building, or is it delegated to someone in particular? I think it's the whole family. I don't think it's like a one person job. I really do think it's the whole family goes and helps with the construction. I believe that's part of what they go through to right. It's a family thing. It's a like I said, they call them their clans. It's a tribal thing. They all have that connection, and which I think is beautiful. And I think, yeah, I think it is definitely a family. It's probably the whole community too. Like if neighbors probably come and help build. I didn't see anything that said like just the dad goes out and does it or something like that. So I think it is just it's a family initiative. And Darlene says she always apologizes for walking on a grave. I just make sure I say hi to him and be respectful. Like I'm not going to go tap dance or do a waltz or anything, like be obnoxious. But yeah, sometimes you can't help it. Some cemeteries are not laid out very well for you to be able to. But hey, if there's a big mound of dirt there, just don't step on you. Yeah. Especially if it's a really old grave and there's no vault there. Like, there things get washed out down below. That grave could be sinking. Just warning you guys. You want to talk about stuff for nightmares? That's probably would probably that would be my nightmare. Yeah. So, and Ernie says, "Yeah, people are so dumb." Ernie, I'm glad you're not one of them either. And I don't think anybody here is probably one of those dumb people. Like, we've all got some common sense that, if somebody wants to, we've all got our different beliefs and we've all got to live together in the same world. So, yeah, that's just like I'm getting ready to plant some flowers down at my mom's headstone. I'm like, well, maybe some people don't like tulips, but I'm like, I don't care what you. I'm just kidding. I did put a little a chicken. It's little it's this little silhouette chicken thing because my mom loved chickens, so I put that there. And my stepdad didn't like it too much, but I was like, you know what, screw you. I'm gonna grieve the way I'm gonna grieve. Let's see. Even when I'm cleaning a grave, I try to be mindful of the top of the grave. However, sometimes I have no choice but to step on one for maintenance or cleaning. Yes, when I clean around the grave, there's no way you can't step on it at times. Like I said, some cemeteries, you know, you can't tell which way they've got the. I've seen some where their name and everything is facing the way that where they're buried. And then sometimes the stone is turned the other way and they're buried away from that side. Like that's how my mom is situated. So I can walk in front of her headstone and I'm not stepping on her grave. But we have some cemeteries that they're tight. You might not be walking on the person's grave that headstone you're standing in front of, but what about the one that's buried right in front of them? Some of them there's not a whole lot of space in some of those old cemeteries. So you just never know. And like I said, as long as you're being respectful about it and yeah, don't be doing a jig or anything on their grave, it could be okay. um Yeah, Darlene, but this is just how things go. I've talked about the African American cemeteries that were in and around Tampa that, right? They just let's just forget about them. Let's just pull all the headstones up and we'll just leave them. It's like you can't do that. Just taking away headstones and taking away it doesn't erase them. They're yeah. All right, I'm gonna take a deep breath. I'm gonna take a drink too. Let them rest in peace. Because you're gonna have family too. So, um, yeah, and I've heard of this too before, Darlene, where some have later on they've found out like where their family member was buried and they've gone in and disinterred them and then put them like at another cemetery. That's pretty common. Yeah. Get permission before you touch a grave. um, yeah. And that's exactly the way it is. People, if they don't understand it, and that's traditionally, we have some kind of small minded people around here, right? Like if it's not what they grew up with and what they were taught, which wasn't very much, and right, they've got their little world and nothing else. That's all there is. And if you try to bring something in from it, they really do. Their heads explode. All right. And nobody, yeah. You go take care of your graves. I'll take care of mine. All right. I'm gonna go. Hello, Tiff. Um, let's see. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys liked that one. Well, I hope you did. Yeah, I really enjoyed looking up this one, and I have to remember to keep drinking. I should be drinking water right now, and I think that's why I'm still. So for those of you guys that missed the beginning, this is our artist that I was Andrew Gagel. So I did find photo of his wife and he, and yeah, I'm in love. I may have a new. I'm completely fascinated with them, with this family, and with him now. So I think I've adopted him into my family, and yeah, now he's mine forever. So because I found all these photos online, and it's what's it called? Dead Fred, I believe it's called. I don't know if anybody knows about this website, but it's like people find these. I think it's like I said, the woman that had these photos, she picked them up at like an estate sale or something in Kentucky and put them online. And yeah, so people could find them. And fortunately, these are labeled. I don't know who, I don't know if she did that or if she found them labeled. Um, and I wish more people would do this. If you find, like I said, I go to, if I see a box of photos at like a yard sale or something, I'm getting them. I love these old photos. I just think they should be protected, even if you don't know who they are. um, I think they still should be protected. And hello, equal, and welcome. Oh, you cooking for your kid? Uh-oh. Oh, now you're picking up takeout? Yeah, I got takeout tonight. I got shrimp because I didn't want to cook tonight. All right, I'm gonna go down here, see everybody. Okay. Did anybody have any particular questions on the spirit houses while I'm still got my notes in front of me? Because I was just gonna, after I got through that, I was gonna kind of, I have a couple funnies that I can do if you guys like. Um, all right, I'm going down. Boop, 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 boop. He looks like Eagle says he looks like a guitarist to me. I was waiting for Ernie to say she dated him, but because he's got some crazy hair, right? And yet, equal, it's Gene Gamble Jr. You have to say it all together. That's the way it is. I've laid down the law. You missed it in the beginning of whatever this is. Yeah, the beginning of the stream. But yeah, I don't know. I think he looks like Edgar Allan Poe. He's got kind of a look like, I don't know. Oh, Darlene says she sent me a text. Oh, I got my phone off. Is it important? Do I have to see it now? All right. All right. Since we had to go through, we had to look at a baby grave. I know I keep pulling up the baby graves, but I want to, gotta show you. So I think I'm going to start doing this with every episode. I think you're equal. I think you're okay. Gene has a sense of humor. He's probably laughing at me calling him by all like his full name there too. Um, I think I want to start. Oh, I see. I see. Wait, hey. He didn't have any. He doesn't have an necktie. Well, you don't know. He might have some under his shirt. I don't know. Oh God. All right. Like she said. See. Yeah. All right. Okay. Good, darling. Not an emergency. All right. So I want to add something. I think each episode I'm going to look up something because either that or I'm just going to go do a whole, I'm just going to do a whole episode again on these because I had a lot of fun um, doing the haunted items. If you guys remember, we went and looked at the dolls and all the little stories that some of them have. And yeah, I kind of went, I was really bored. I couldn't sleep, which seems it's almost every night. And I almost killed myself laughing so hard over this one because I'm going to show you guys. All right. So, but like I said, they've already been sold. So they're handcuffs. All right. Hang on. Hang on. I want you guys to be able to see them completely. All right. Sorry. I took another drink of water or tea. Oh. So I think I'm going to start adding one of these in, and this is real short. This is going to take like 2 minutes. And then, because I just want to throw. All right. So there you guys go. So you can see it full there. All right. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to this now. All right. So, Jeremy, we got to talk about Villisca. All right. I want to talk. Do you want to come up? If you want to come up, I can drop a link if you want to come up and talk about it. Maybe we can figure out another time too. I'm all about talking about the Villisca Ax murder. So yeah, I see your guys's eyes, Gutters and TF. Just I picked this for you too. So I think this just proves. So one's man's. I kind of thought of this on my own. So I hope you guys are going to be like, I'm gonna blow you guys away with this. So I was trying to think of something really witty, and I'm like, one man's trash is another man's paranormal attachment. Yes? No? Okay. Morg, you don't know about the Villisca Ax Murders. Okay, I know TF and Gutters are very excited about the handcuffs, so let me let me get these and then I'll tell you guys if you guys don't know about it, I'll tell you what Adventures is talking about. So these were on eBay, and this seller apparently does a lot of haunted items. And these are vintage handcuffs. And as you can see, they're kind of tarnished, pretty old looking. Any other time, you'd probably just be like, whatever, they're old handcuffs, right? But these have a spirit that is attached to them. And his name is Charles. And Charles is a dick. He's a negative spirit. So the previous owners of these claim to hear strange noises, have sudden cold spots, and occasional movements. The handcuffs would move when nobody was around. And I have to say, so the seller did, I'm going to read you some of the listing, because there's some stuff I don't want to talk about on here. But yeah, I was going to say, just because we've talked about my basement dungeon before, it's recommended not to actually use these because there's no key for them. So don't take them down to your dungeon. Don't get frisky or kinky. But Charles probably wants that to happen. Charles probably hid the damn key a long time ago, so nobody could get out of them. But I think I kind of like Charles a little bit. Maybe I don't want him coming to my house, but so Charles has a whole backstory. I love these backstories on these ghosts. I have to search for years to find anything on any of the ghosts and where I grew up with. But these people have a whole freaking history on these guys, right? So this guy, Charles, was apparently schizophrenic, and he died sometime in the 80s. And apparently these came from a relative of Charles who believed Charles was responsible for some murders of some women in the area they were never able to connect him to. So allegedly, but Charles died before I guess they could pin the murders on him or whatever. Um, Charles, that's the only name he's going by, so it could be Charles Manson. I don't know. I don't even know where he got these handcuffs. Um, so the people were relatives of Charles. They wanted these out of their house. They sent them to the seller and said that they're positive Charles is attached to this is his vessel here on Earth right now. And they can, let me see. Once they found these items in their home, they began to hear footsteps and see a shadow figure and said that they would wake up and their throats would feel like it was being closed around them. Like, right? Like they were being choked. And apparently that's how these women died. And then they noticed that things would go missing, especially cigarettes. And Charles was known to be a big cigarette smoker. So I don't know. I think Charles is getting blamed for a lot of stuff he can't. I mean, he can't speak for himself, but oh wait, maybe he can. Hang on, because there's more. So Charles is able to communicate with people using dowsing rods, spirit boxes, and Ouija boards. And he can also use other paranormal tools as well. REM pods, K2 meters, and dead bells. I want to know if he can use the cat balls because I have some of those. I'd like to see if he could use those. Cat ball. They're toys, guys, not testicles. Hi, Anne. I'm talking about cat toys and Charles with his handcuffs. So as he says, also, I'm sorry. Apparently, when using thermal cameras, you can catch glimpses of his spirit moving through the home. This one would be perfect for all the haunted collectors and paranormal investigators. I would suggest keeping this out of the hands of people who enter your home. Okay. Also, do not put these handcuffs on. They are real, and I don't have a key. If this happens, you will have to call the police department and get them taken off. Do you have to call the police? Does that happen? I've never had that happen. So somebody tell me, have you guys lost the key ever before? Ever? I think you could can't you just cut them bolt cutters or does everybody not have bolt cutters? Hey, I don't know. I've got bolt cutters. I have a farm. Keep them next to the whips downstairs. Anyway, so the seller says with each order, he will send offerings such as incense and a candle and a balloon light to welcome the spirit into your home. So Charles likes incense and candles, but he also likes handcuffs because he's a kinky freak. But yeah, so Charles is in charge. Jen says she just wishes they were furrier. I know, and they sold for $300, you guys. 300. I wouldn't like maybe $50 with a key. And they better have a better story than this is. No, it's not even that great of a story. Maybe he killed some women. Come on, I want fingerprints or DNA evidence. That's what I want. Could he have used these in a murder? There could be DNA evidence on these. No. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go back up because some of you guys had some funny stuff over here. Darlene wants to know if he's from Long Island. See, I was wondering if he was from California. I was thinking Charlie. All right, I gotta go. Okay, this is where I think I left off. I think I left off with Morgue and the Axe murder. So, and Jen says, I have so many questions. I don't know what answer. item. And Darlene, ooh, she found some shirts from shirts. Yeah. I'm gonna look. I'll look, Darlene, as soon as I wrap up. I promise. Yeah, the Axe Murders, very famous unsolved case with many others just like it from the same time period. Because killing people with axes was fun, apparently, in early 1900s, late 1800s. I mean, what else was there to do? They didn't have handcuffs. Morgue wants a pair of handcuffs, only $300. Morgue, I think you can find some cheaper, but they won't have Charles with them. You'll have to figure out what. Sherlock, are you interested in the Villisca Ax murder too? I'm gonna have to talk about it. See, I'm chomping at the bit already. I want to hear. I want to hear what Jeremy with Adventures has to say because, yeah, Chuck is a Richard. Oh, slide right off the bedpost. Girl, I don't tell anybody what to do in their dungeons. To each their own. I have everybody sign a non-disclosure agreement, so they don't talk about what goes on in my dungeons either. So, well, it's just the one dungeon because it's just the one basement with secret holes. I mean, compartments. I wouldn't put haunted handcuffs on myself or anyone. I think these would be like a Stephen King movie. I want to see it. I want to somebody write me a story of. I think somebody could write a better one than this one about. I'm sorry. So your cigarette, I think you're just smoking all your cigarettes yourself. And then you're like, well, I didn't. Yeah. But let's blame Charles. I mean, just like let's blame Dennis Hopper. Oh, wait a second. Let's blame Dennis Hopper for all the missing hands on all the missing statues in cemeteries. Where's my video clip? All right, here we go. Yeah, let's do that. Let's blame Dennis Hopper for everything and Charles. Charles is stealing all the cigarettes. All right. Don't feed Charles after somebody fed Charles after midnight, and now he's here. But why? I just don't understand. I'm gonna start selling haunted stuff. $300, you guys. That'll feed my kid for like a week. He's 7. He's a growing boy. Yeah. I have a Ouija board. I'm not afraid of it, but then again, with anything, you want to know what you're using and be cautious of it. But I do have the cat toys, the little cat balls. I did get some. So, and yeah, right, Sherlock. Everyone was like, "Oh, well, everybody had an axe, right? Because you heated your house with wood. I think everybody had to have one. Adventure says, you want to give everyone a short overview that might not know about it. Here, let me look up real quick. Let me look it up real quick. On my handy dandy tablet. and I'll give you guys a short. Maybe we could have like a big roundtable discussion on this one because I'm telling you guys. So I've been to Villisca. Um, Go back. Come here. All right, there we go. And I did an investigation there one night. I never want to be there at night ever again. My place is seriously haunted. Where's my phone here? Let me get a photo for you. I know I have a photo, so hopefully, let me see. I wonder where it would be. Here, I'll just pull up a generic photo, but I do have photos from Villisca from the house. Let me get a photo for you guys. Hey, that actually looks like my photo right there. Oh, actually, I think that is. All right, hang on. All right, just bear with me, guys. Oop. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, I gotta load it. All right. So, who in the chat has heard about the Villisca Ax murders? Um, oh, I've been to Lizzie's house too. Whoa. I still wonder. I don't think Lizzie didn't do it alone. Though I think she did have something to do with it. All right, let me pull up a photo of. I'll find my photos. I think they're on a hard drive somewhere though. Okay. Where'd it go? Did it not? All right, let me try one more time to load this photo up. Send it to my drive. Huh. All right, I'm getting mad at my. All right. Jeremy, yeah, for Lizzie, I think the uncle did do it. Like 100% the uncle. Let me try this one more time. For some reason, it's not. Where's my photo? Oh, you know what? I bet it went to the wrong drive. Screw it. I'll just find it on the. I don't want you guys seeing my Google search history though, so hang on. Because if you think the axe murder is horrible, oh my gosh, you should see my search history. Oh, here we go. Will this show it? There we go. All right, here. I'll just do this. I'm gonna take down, say goodbye to the haunted handcuffs. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I'm gonna share my screen. Is it this one? Here we go. This is a good photo. Come here. Where'd you go? Yay, there it is. Oh, that only took 20 minutes. All right. I'm gonna get the. Should I just pull up? Which one do I want to use? Oh, here. You gonna come say hi? Just say hi. Did you do them? You killed the people, didn't you? What? She look at her. She's evil. You want to come play? Let's see. Where's just the wiki article? Well, here we go. Here's the axe murder house. Let's see about. Us. House and Murders, the history. All right. Oh my gosh, this is too long of a history. Nope, I don't like that story. Here we go. I'll just read what they have on Wikipedia. So, all right. So this is the Villisca Ax Murders. As that big sign in front of the house says, this is where it happened. Get it, Jeremy, get it up, and then we'll talk. You post your video, and then we can talk about it because I love this. I love this story. I've got a couple. I've got a couple theories. Probably wrong, but have you? So there's a book too. Hang on here. So let me I'll tell the story here real quick. So Villisca is this tiny, tiny little town in Iowa. There ain't nothing for miles, just big ol' the man from the train. Just fields everywhere. And Villisca's a tiny, actually, it's very cute little old looking town. Like it's just what you would kind of expect yeah, Ernie, Iowa is it's a little weird. But this town, it still retains a lot of that, that early 1900s, like the brick buildings downtown. It kind of reminds me of my little town here. Very reminiscent of that. Very tiny. I remember stopping the last time we went, I stopped in the gas station and they were selling these DVDs because they had just put out like this little documentary thing about it. And I asked the girl, I said, "So how many people come in here asking you about the axe murder?" She says, "You should just ask me how many people don't." And I'm like, wow. I would love to work there. I love it. I know I get very gleeful over unsolved cold cases. But so these murders occurred on the night of June 9th, in the early mornings of June 10th, 1912. And this is, like I said, the little town of Villisca, Iowa. And 6 members of the Moore family and 2 of their guests were found bludgeoned inside this house. And this is the Moore house. And altogether, there were 8 victims. 6 of them were children. They all had severe head wounds from an axe. And as you can imagine, in 1912, I mean, if they didn't catch somebody doing it, right? Like they pretty much had to catch people red-handed for stuff back then. But they had a lot of suspects, and a lot of people were talked to and interviewed, but nothing ever came of it. This is still unsolved. So 1912 and it's 2026 and it's still not solved. So the family members are Josiah, his wife, Sarah. Oh, wait. Wait. That's not right. It's not just, is it? And their 4 children. Huh. I thought there was. Do they have their names wrong on here? Maybe I got no. Okay. Yeah, Josiah and Sarah Moore. Their 4 children, Herman, Mary Catherine, Arthur, and Paul. And Mary Catherine had invited Ina May and Lena Stillinger. These were the 2 little girls that were guests They were ages 8 and 11, and they were in the house that night as well. So the ages of the Moore children, Herman was 11, Mary Catherine was 10, Arthur was 7, and Paul was 5. And so on June 9th, 1912, Mary Catherine had invited Ina and Lena Stillinger to spend the night at the Morris house. And there was, at the church in town, there was a big, like a children's program. And these things would have been really huge back in the day, right? No TVs, that kind of thing. So any functions at the church, everybody went to them. So this was just like, I'm sure the kids were probably, I don't know, maybe they're probably singing songs, things of that nature for their parents. And Sarah Moore, the mother that lived in this house, she was one of the women that had organized the event at the church. And hello, Mia B, just in time for Axe Murders. Kay's always walk in at the best times. So the entire Moore family, along with the 2 girls that were staying the night, they were at the function at the church, and the program ended at about 9:30. And the Moores walked from the church to their house, and they probably got there, they said, between 9:45 and 10 p.m. I think that's what and if you can imagine back then, I think they said it was I don't think there was like a moon. I think they said it would have been almost pitch black because there was something going on with the power to. Okay, I'll keep looking here. Let me keep reading the story because I got more stuff than I have in front of me here. So the next morning, about 7 a.m., Mary Peckham, and she's the Moore's next door neighbor. She's in the house next to them. She looked outside and she didn't see anything going on. And this is, right, small country town. People are getting up at the crack of dawn. Got to milk the cow, got to feed the chickens, got to get the eggs, all that stuff. 7 a.m. might as well be noon to us, right? Like they're getting up early and getting ready. So she looks and she's like, wow, I don't think they've done their chores yet. What's going on over there? So she went over and knocks on the door and nobody answered. And she tried to open the door, but it was locked. It was weird. And then Peckham, she went and she let the chickens out. And then she called Josiah Moore, the owner of the house. She called his brother, Ross Moore. And she told him, hey, I've knocked on the door. Nobody's answering. Can you come over and get in the house? And Moore came over. He didn't receive a response. He knocked on the door and he shouted, and then he just got the key out and he unlocked the front door with his copy of the key. And Peckham, the neighbor, she was standing on the porch, and Ross Moore went inside. The brother went inside. And he went into the parlor, and then he opened the guest bedroom, which was the only bedroom on the main floor of the house. He opened the door, and he saw the bodies of Ina and Lena Stillinger dead. And Moore immediately went outside and told Peckham, the neighbor, to call Henry Horton, who is their peace officer. So pretty much their cop. And he arrived shortly after that. And Horton, the peace officer, he went and searched the house, revealed that the entire Moore family and the 2 Stillinger girls had been bludgeoned to death and the murder weapon, which was an axe that belonged to the family, was found in the guest room where the 2 Stillinger sisters were found. And the doctors had concluded that the murders had taken place sometime between midnight and 5 a.m. They found 2 cigarettes in the attic, like smoked cigarettes, that suggested that the killer had probably been waiting up in the attic space and smoking cigarettes while he was waiting for the family to probably come home and then to probably go to to fall asleep. He's probably waiting up there um, for everything to get silent so he could sneak down. The thought is that since he was in the attic, he came down, he would have been on the second floor of the house, that top floor there. And he first went into the parents' bedroom, Josiah and Sarah. And Josiah, the husband, he received more blows and pretty much couldn't tell what his face looked like. And I know I've seen the when you go to the house, it's still there. The the way the axe made marks in the ceiling from where the person was doing right the hacking. And let's see. Josiah was the only one that actually got the blade of the axe. Everyone else was killed with the blunt end. So Herman, Eerie, I don't have to list all their names again, but so all the children, after the murder, what was it? Hang on. So the other 4 children were bludgeoned next, same manner. They were in the room next to their parents. And then after that, the murderer returned to the master bedroom and inflicted more blows on both the Moores. And then it says, and then he went downstairs and to the guest room, and then he had killed Ina and Lena, the 2 girls that were staying the night. And this is the gross part. I don't even know how I want to say this part because this one always grosses me out. After he was done with the murders, he went into their little ice box. So they didn't have refrigerators, but it was just like a cold storage box, right? He got out a 4-pound slab of bacon and he used it as uh, what was it? Masturbatory aid? Is that correct? I think that's what I want to say. It's not saying that in this, but right, like he got excited from the murders. And they think everybody had been asleep except for Lena Stillinger, because she was the only one that seemed to maybe she woke up and maybe tried to fight back. And it said she was lying crossways on the bed with a defensive wound on her arm. And she was also positioned in an inappropriate way. So law enforcement had thought maybe she had been molested or attempted to, but there was no conclusive evidence to show that she actually had anything done to her. She was just in an inappropriate position. Um, the murderer had gone through the house. He covered every mirror in the house with blankets, clothing, anything that would cover the mirror up. Whatever was available, he covered up the mirrors. This is part of his MO as well. And he went into, it says here, garments were removed from dressers to cover the mirrors. So he went through their dressers. This is how old-timey investigations were done. So after this peace officer went through the house and searched, yeah, more, it gets worse and worse, right? These people went, the peace officer went through and did the search of the house. Well, they just let people walk on in. Because murders don't happen every day in town. So let's go see what this is. There's like a bunch of dead kids and their parents. So let's all go check this out. So they were just letting people walk in and look around. Let's see here. It says at about 8:40, the town's central telephone office issued an all-call alert. And this told every household in the town about the murders. And within minutes, what happens? Everybody's there on the front lawn and coming up to the house because there's dead people. So let's go. Morbid curiosity. It took, apparently the sheriff, it took him hours to contain the scene. Hundreds of people were there. It's not that big of a town, but I think it was a little bigger back then. A lot smaller now. So you can imagine all these people walking through the house, right? Like, even if they had techniques, stuff is getting disturbed. So who even knows anymore? The coroner, Dr. Lindquist, he arrived at the scene at about 9 a.m. He talked to the peace officer. He talked to the sheriff. He was upset that there were so many people in the house. And he wanted the sheriff, so the coroner wanted the National Guard to come. And I don't think I've ever seen that part before, to come and secure the scene. And they had, maybe I did know that. And it says by 10:30 a.m., the National Guard had established a secure perimeter to keep people out. The local druggist whose hobby was photography showed up to take photos, but he was dismissed and was told taking photos was too ghoulish. He may have had an economic motive. Many drugstores sold postcards of crime scenes at the time. They like that stuff. So there were no photos taken. I mean, it seems like it would have been easy enough to just to take his camera and take some photos. But anyway, let's see. Lindquist called members of the coroner's jury together in the late afternoon, but it still took several hours before they actually got into the house to view the bodies. And then it was after 10 p.m. that night when the undertaker was given permission to come in and remove the bodies. Let's see. And then they took the fire station was used as a temporary morgue. Let's see. And then it says here now it says murders happened between midnight and 2 a.m. Everyone died from severe head traumas. And they don't know how. So you can imagine 1912, there's no, it's quiet out in the country. There's no buzzing, any of that stuff going on. and this guy's going through their house. I would think you could hear a pin drop, and this was one of the things that always kind of struck me as odd. Like, how is he walking around the house and not waking anybody up? Um, which is what the people thought too. Like, how could he walk around like a creaky farmhouse and not wake anybody up? Um, at the time, the newspapers thought that the murderer had put sedative in milk or cocoa um, to sedate the family. Um, but of course, yeah, toxicology reports wouldn't have been done at that time. See. Investigators found an imprint in the hay in the barn next to a knot hole, and a knot hole is like a little hole in the wood, like in the grain of the wood that you can look out of. Um, making them think that the killer had probably been in the barn, like hiding up in the barn and watching the family for a little while. And then the two spent cigarettes up in the attic. Somehow he got in the house, either usually a window or unlocked back door, and then he hid there until the family got home. And these are two pieces of evidence that they that kind of link to some other axe murders that happened in and around the same time. Um, there's the gas lamps. They had the base with the um, the oil in it, the gas, whatever, right? And then it has that little has the wick inside, and it's got that little chimney thing on it. Uh, at the Moore house, the chimney was removed and the wick was turned down very low, and it would have just given enough light for someone to walk and to be able to see. So, not enough to probably wake people up, but enough just so he could find his way through the house. And then they also found a fragment of a keychain, which did not belong to any of the members of the Moore family, had been found downstairs. Um, and they interviewed, let's see, June 11th, 1912, they interviewed 13 people as potential witnesses. And then we could go on. I don't know if you guys want me to talk about all of them, but I don't think any of them did it anyway. But there's a really good book, and it's called The Man. Is it The Man from the Train or Man? It's a really good book. Which, I mean, yeah. So this is 1912. Everybody's got an axe, right? Like in their wood pile in the backyard, because that's how you're heating your house. So the fact that a lot of axe murders they don't all, right? They not. I'm sure this one guy didn't go and commit all these axe murders, but there were quite a few that had a lot of the same. The chimney of the lamp being removed. So we're going to talk about MOs, right? The chimney being removed. I'm trying to think, the mirrors being covered. What was there? There was something too about something about didn't he wash? I think he washed up after, like there was a bowl on the counter or something, like he had washed up, like got the blood all off of him after the fact. And I think he sat and ate or something as well. I don't see that in Wiki here, but let me see what else. They got all the suspects, but like I said, I don't think so you can go to the house now. Now it is a huge tourist attraction. You can go on ghost hunts, all sorts of things. I watched a guy supposedly get possessed and then stab himself, and on a video. I'm not laughing because that's funny. I'm laughing because it's weird. And yeah, I don't know what else to do but I don't know. I don't believe in possessions so much. I think people maybe get caught up in their own brains a little bit, but yeah. In general, yeah, the entire town shows up to see, oh, hey, so and so's been murdered. Let's go. Yeah, yeah. There was nothing on TV. And hello, Josh. And it says, I don't know why I always feel like detective work was so shoddy back then. The fact that they just let people walk on in, right? Like you hear about all these murders, like women dipping their petticoats in the blood, like everybody taking stuff from the house like as mementos, or parts of the house, or parts of the person's clothing that was murdered, right? Weird. Uh, they were weird. And Morg says he calls those Geppetto lamps. Yeah, those are it's not, they call them, it says gas lamp, but that's actually oil, right? That's an oil lamp. I don't, it says gas in here, but that's not gas in there. It's oil. It's and Adventure says, yeah, I don't either. I don't, yeah, they looked at, so I think the big leading, let's see. Jen, this is the one that Jen says, I'm still eyeing the Reverend, even though a lot of people dismiss him. I don't think I, out of all the people though that they talked about, he was, so Jen's talking about a man by the name of Reverend George Kelly, and don't let, just because a guy has a reverend in front of his name, they're not all men of God. Kelly, here, I'll give you what Wikipedia has here on. He was an English-born traveling minister. He was there the night of the murders. And he was weird. He was just a weird guy. He had apparently some sort of a traumatic childhood. I think he had a nervous breakdown, and like he was just he had some stuff wrong with him. What that is, I don't know, but back in that time period, right? If somebody had something, everybody's side-eyeing him, right? Like it's got to be that dude. He's weird. He's got to be a killer. So that's why I don't completely dismiss him, but I mean all the little things like the covering the mirrors, the bacon, just there's a lot of things at the Moore house that line up with other murders in and around that time period. And the book, The Man from the Train, is really good. Like I think I read that thing in like a day or something. Like I think I read it cover to cover in no time. Villisca is right on the train. Used to stop right there in Villisca. So there is a train line that runs right past. So the book, The Man from the Train. So all these axe murders happened near where somebody could commit the murder and hop on the train and get the hell out of town. Which is what I think Reverend George Kelly did. I think he got on the train like that very morning. Let me say, yeah, he left town between 5 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. Yeah, so he got out of town. So that looks suspicious, right? Well, he comes into town for the night and then he's gone. So yeah, I mean, it's still side-eye him. I just think yeah, I think but he used that bacon for, I'm not gonna, adventures. So I've only researched 2 of them, the one I did the story about today and the Villisca case. I'd like you got okay. You know, my you gotta eat. Come on, I gotta know more now. Adventure says you think like me, and I have more than you might not know about. I want to know. Yeah, I haven't looked into the case in like I don't know how long. It's been years, but I've been here to the house. I went on a ghost hunt one night. This place, I don't ever wanna go back inside this place again, and I don't say that about very many places. It's I don't know what it is. So, this house was rented it has been sold many times. It went through a lot of different hands. It was rented out at various times. And in the '90s, they bought it. I think it's still the same people who own it now. They bought it and they took it back to what it looked like when the Moores lived there. I don't know if that's no, because I've been in Lizzie Borden's house. I didn't even get creeped out by that. I stood right where her dad was bludgeoned to death and in the bedroom where her stepmother was. I didn't nothing. Nothing in that house. This made me physically ill. As soon as I went into that bedroom where the bedroom where the 2 little the Stillinger girls were murdered, it didn't I had to go back outside for a little while because I felt physically ill from it. So, I'm gonna go down and read some of your comments here. Um, no. I like that idea. So Adventure says he's going to start a series. He's going to deep dive into every axe murder and treat each one like an isolated case, not using the other cases to distract from the others. That's a good idea. I like that. Um, the one that happened in Colorado Springs, I've been to that house. They say that it's not there anymore, but it is. It's still there. I can't recall right offhand. I think 2 murders happened that night that are same things at the Villisca house that happened at the Colorado Springs house too, and it was right next to the train line. So I think that and it was in the book, and I read the book at the time I was living in Colorado, so I went and checked it out, and that house was actually they said the house is no longer there, but I looked up and the house was built in, like, 1899, so it was there in 1912. So, it's still the same house, and you can tell it's an old house, so, um, but, yeah, read it. Um, the gentleman, if I start pulling up stuff, everything will crash here, but, the man from the train, the gentleman that wrote it is I think he did baseball stats, which seems like something that's totally not even connected to an axe murder, right? And but he's very good at s he's got that mind that can see, like, the patterns and all of that, and he can lay it out in a way that made sense to me. I have a hard time focusing, like staying focused on something, but I didn't have with his theory, I think of all the ones that I have read, like, I've looked at all of these guys. I kind of thought it really did seem like, since Josiah, but they do just call him Joe Moore as well. I'll just call him, Joe. But there's a lot of theories, like Joe was maybe having an affair on Sarah, his wife, since the brunt of like, right, he was the only one that had the actual sharp part of the axe used on him. Everyone else had the blunt end, made it seem like, okay, he was maybe singling Joe out, like he was the one that he was there to murder, but still can't I still can't put it together why you would, yeah, maybe he'd have to murder Sarah because she's in bed next to him, but, uh, to murder all the kids and to murder the 2 kids downstairs, I mean, like, no, whoever went into that house wa was definitely there to kill a lot of people, and they didn't care who they killed. Women, maybe he had some sort of fascination, um, maybe he had some, like, anger towards males, other men or something. That's why maybe he used the sharp part of the axe on Joe and everybody else got the blunt end. Not sure, but, he was very angry in that bedroom because you can see the the marks, they left them in the wall. You can still see them from where he must have been right over. It's gruesome, guys, it's gruesome, and what Tiff says. That's how I'm gonna say it from now on. It's just bacon for pleasure, and not the typical pleasure that most of us get from bacon, but sick, freaky people pleasure kinda stuff. Yeah. I wasn't prepared for this, so sorry, guys, it's a little bit disjointed, but yeah, and I can't recall everything that like, I've read so much on these, but this house is there's just some heavy, heavy energy here. Yeah, he violated the bacon. I'm pretty sure that was at the Villisca house. There was thought there was, like, 1 or 2 other houses that they had found something similar to. I have to go back and look again. I still got the book, so I'll look. And let's see. And Jen says, I think he took a liking to the children at the church that night, followed them, the motivation. I'm but I think he was waiting for them. I think he was up in that attic space. We got to go up there too. I didn't like it. I'm just telling there I'm not gonna say this about a lot of places, guys. I'm not like, "Hey, I think you should all go check out some haunted houses and stuff," because not all of them are, like, haunted. But I don't know if it's just because what happened here was awful. Um, 2 poor little girls that just happened to randomly pick that night, right, to come and stay at this house with their friend, you know, and then yeah, that's it. So, there should be a probably some residual heavy feelings, but what I don't know. You're not gonna hear it a lot from me, but this place, yeah. I'm sure that Tiff, that bacon was just sitting in there going, "Hey, how you doing?" But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what the bacon was used for. Um, yeah, that one sticks you don't forget that one. That's one that stays with you. Um, let's see, Adventure says, "I could just spill the beans on my video, then you can watch it for the" if you want to. Did the brother inherit the home and property? See, that was one of I think that's one of the let me look at what I got here. What's the brother? Um, let me look here. I don't think so. I don't know who got the house. There's more. Ooh, what's this one? Ooh, I don't remember seeing this link before. I don't know who got the house after they died. I probably do, but I'd have to go look. But just that the brother and I think that was the weird thing too was that they never locked their house and it was locked. So when the killer left, right? Like he locked the doors behind him because people back then they weren't locking their doors. They probably did after this though. But I do remember that night it was completely dark outside. I think there was a problem with the street lamps or something. and there was no moon that night, or it was like it was pitch black in the town. So he right, like this is going on in the house. This guy, like, how did nobody see this guy? Well, it was pitch black. Nobody's not going to see a damn thing. So that's one way he could have got away. Is yeah, nobody's um yeah, Adventures is going to take a poll. Oh, I got to scroll down. He's probably already finished with the poll. Um oh no, okay, I'll go. Um Tiff, and there was so there was a shoe that was on the floor that was filled with blood, that when the killer came back the second time, he stepped on the shoe or in the shoe, like he hit the shoe and it went like, and I think there were footprints or something. Or yeah, shoe prints, I think it was. And Work says, I have a theory on the mirrors being covered, but AI helped me. I do too. And Gene Gamble Jr. says, great show tonight. Native spirit houses, 50 Shades of Doomskulls. And it wasn't Lizzie's axe, we know, and bacon. Yeah. Look, hey, we talk about anything, guys, as long as somebody dies. I'm sorry. Also, was Josiah the only one with a completely destroyed face and or eyes? He had the most. Like, I think his face was completely just gone. He took the brunt of it, I believe. But I think Sarah was too, because the killer went back a second time to their room and both of them got it more. So I mean, I don't think Joe was the primary. I'm just wondering, and I think he covered the mirrors because he didn't want to see himself. Right? Like, does that make sense to you? Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, he just doesn't want to. Like, you just killed a whole family, 6 kids. You don't want to look at yourself in the mirror. Um, that's my theory on it. Like, just not wanting to see your face. And Jen says, I can't remember if he left the church party earlier than they did or not, but that could be interesting to know. Let me look. Let me see if it says anything. Kelly, it just said so Reverend George Kelly came to the services. The Moore family was there. It doesn't say, and he left town on the train between 5 and 5:50. And he was a little dude. The Reverend, he was a little guy. But one thought was, and this is why I always kind of still side-eyed him a little bit, was the fact that whoever did this couldn't have been a very big person. Just because of the way the marks were in that ceiling. Like, he had to have been right over top of them, and a taller person couldn't have got their arm up enough to swing and hit with the force that they did. Like it had to have been a shorter, somebody of a smaller height. It couldn't have been. So it would have been somebody probably more around Reverend George Kelly's height than like some of these other suspects. So I can't remember how tall they said. I think he had to be under 5'10". I think 5'10" was, no, I think it actually had to be shorter than that. But yeah, the way they described it was right, like he got over the top of them, and he had to have enough space to still do that, right? Like okay, deep breath. I gotta take another. Whew. Yes, Tiff. So you have this thing going on in the church. Everybody's going to be there. The whole town's going to be there. And I think it worked to his advantage that, hey, it was a dark night. Maybe he already knew it was. I mean, maybe that's. I mean, if they say he laid out in the barn, I believe that they found that indention in the hay. He'd probably been laying up there watching them for who knows how long, which makes me think, yeah. All right. Uh-oh. Adventures is I'm gonna go down. Night, Ann. And probably, yeah, I know, Fools has started over. But here, not the boom. Yeah, I don't believe random. Not really. All right. Um, Equal says he knew took someone away from her father. There's something, there's some kind of, maybe some sort of issue with his own father, like some hatred, like so when he kills the father, like that's the one he focuses on. But some of these other murders that may be linked, there's always not always, I don't think there's always a father involved because one was just a woman and her kids, I think. Adventure says look up the Ackerman family murders. Okay. Uh, Ackerman. Oop, murders. All right. I'm still learning how to use this thing. So, all right, there we go. Come on, there we go. All right. Um, from 2020, is this the right case? Is that the one I'm looking? Oh, it says there's a few different. All right, I might not have the right one. Mm, equal. I just saw that comment. Morg says, I have face eye theories too, then for everyone with a destroyed face. Um, right, like like if they destroy their eyes, like it's like did they see something they weren't supposed to? Like I always think like with Lizzie Borden, like her father, who somebody really was pissed at him, like just blew his, yeah, his, that was pretty grotesque too. They took a lot of pictures of that one. Why they didn't get any at the Moors, I don't understand because that's 1912. Um, Tiff says Jewish houses in mourning cover the mirrors. That's it's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's been um let's see. Yeah, the only Ackerman. Oh, wait. I found it. Ackerman. I had the wrong one. Sorry. Yeah, just accept. Okay. Oh. Ackerman family murders, horror in the Florida countryside. Whoa. All right, I gotta read this here. 9 members of the same family died in their house. All right. I'm reading it real quick here. I guess I can just read it out loud here too. So, um, yeah, the Kelly, he had so much going against him. Like, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, yeah, that's the dude right there. Look at him. He looks like a killer. He's just, good thing I didn't live back then and nobody died around me because, yeah, I'd been Be like, yeah, it's that girl right there. Yeah, he did. He looked like Gollum. Um, and you know what? I don't know, Tiff. I'd have to look him. I'll have to pull it all the stuff that I have. Like I've got a bunch of saved stuff too. Um, I can't remember like if it was a smaller footprint or not, but I know there was a print because like that's how much blood there was. Like it was rough. God, just looking at this house makes my heart like start to palpitate a little bit. I just remember being up in that attic and just feeling like, I don't know. I just felt some intense hate. Like whoever, not even maybe necessarily hate towards the family that lived here, just hate in general. Like whoever did this just hates people. That was my pickup from it. Um, I'll look it up, Tiff, and I'll see. I can't remember though. And Morg says belief in mirrors serving as soul traps is what AI taught. Yes. Or capturing murder or a murderer's identity in them. Eyes are believed to capture images at death too. I've heard of that before. Like the last, wasn't there a show or something that was based on that? Like the last thing somebody sees, like murder victims, right? Like to see their face, and they did some sort of, I can't remember it now, but I always, that idea always kind of sticks with me. Like the last thing a person would see, like hopefully they didn't see anything. Well, the one little girl probably did. But I wonder if there's something to that. He thinks that the mirror is going to maybe he has that, the murder had a belief that, yeah, um, his soul could get captured somehow. Just yeah, Jen, he did. He confessed, but that guy, he was not right. He's not. He wasn't right. He had a nervous breakdown as like a teenager. He had some, I don't know if I wouldn't say, I don't think he was schizophrenic, but he definitely had something not well about him, like mentally. It's thank you, Tiff. Indentation. That's what I think I've been trying to find that. All right. Let me go down here. I got this pulled up, so let me yeah, they have their name spelled here as like acre man. So like an acre of land man. Um we look here. All right, let me go down. Let me see what and Jen says, yeah, he did get acquitted, but I think he definitely was insane. By like completely. Something, yeah, that poor guy. I don't know. I just don't think you see that little to kill all of those. I don't know. I don't know. But hey, if they said he did, I'd probably be like, wow. Because I'll still stay on the fence. Okay, so I do have the right one. Yeah. Okay. This one, it does say the house was okay. So I found it. All right. And Jen says, I know Tunes, I feel like sometimes the most obvious answer is the answer in the true crime. Sometimes, right? Like when I first was looking into I don't even remember how or when this case came to me. It was probably an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, to tell you the truth, because that's where a lot of some of these came to me when I'd watch them with my mom. It's probably why I like the stuff that I like now. And I yeah, like at the time it was like, yeah, it's him. It's him, right? But then you start, I don't know, you start learning other things and you're just like, yeah, I don't know. And Tiff, right? Like 6 kids. I don't have any forgiveness for that. Like I said, like I felt something is off. Whether it's I believe in energy being left behind on a place, and yeah, people have been murdered here, but yeah, I was in the Lizzie Borden house too, and I didn't feel that way at all. Of course, I wasn't in there at night with the lights off, but the very first time I went there, I got to walk in and stand there and kinda look around. I wasn't able to go on a tour, but the guy let me come on in before he closed up because I was just like, "Oh, can I just take a look?" And I walked in and I looked in that first bedroom and I was like, like I wanted to vomit and get out of there. So I didn't even wanna go back. But then some friends did a ghost weekend there and I went and yeah, I won't go back. I won't go do another that I think they should just leave this house. This is one of the ones they should just leave alone. I think whatever's here, I just think the more people that go to it just stirs up whatever is hanging out in this one. And hello, Jim. Hello. Hello from the lower under Canada. All right. Let me read this. So this is the Ackerman family murders. It says horror in the Florida countryside. And it says around 10 a.m. on the morning of May 14th, 1906, tiny Allentown community of northwestern Florida. A man looked outside his window and realized he could no longer see his neighbor's house. His neighbor was um, W.G. Ackerman, lived on a tenant farm about a quarter mile away, and he was married with 7 children. Um, and this man, the neighbor, wasn't named in newspaper reports. And they went, it says here, the house was just as he thought. It was gone. It had been burned nearly to the ground. The foundation was still burning when the neighbors arrived. The rest of the house was in smoldering ruins. Good night, Ernie. Ernie's finally got water back, guys. um, let's see. The sheriff, a doctor, and the judge headed there, and it was like 10 miles away. Let's see, the family at the scene. The entire family was dead. There were 9 of them, and one of them was a 3-day-old infant. The fire had burned for several hours before being discovered. All the bodies were badly burned, with the earliest reports describing them as being dismembered. The bodies of WG and Amanda seemed to be the most damaged, with papers describing them as only having the trunk remaining. According to, well, I won't read all of this. I'm going to skip around through it. Gives a little information on. So his name was William Ackerman. It says born 1869. He was married a few times. And Amanda was his last wife. Amanda was about 38 to 39 when she died. William was about 37. The 7 children ranged from 14 to 3 days old. The eldest, the 14-year-old, was a daughter. And altogether, 4 boys, 2 girls. They don't know what the infant's gender was. And they don't know the names of any of the children. What year was this? What did I say, 1906? Should be able to. Well, no, yeah, it says they were very poor. They relied on help from charitable organizations and churches while they lived in Mobile. Let's see. They moved to Allentown in Florida, where they would be brutally murdered. So they worked as sharecroppers and tenant farmers. Dun, dun, dun. Here's a diagram of the house. All right. Mr. Ackerman was found lying in the doorway leading to the rear porch. Oh, beside him lay the burnt remains of a gun. It was speculated Mr. Ackerman knew his family was in trouble and tried to protect them the best he could. Amanda, the wife, um, along with the infant, was found outside in the front doorway, and the three sons who slept in the west bedroom um, were all found in the bedroom, um, making it seem like the boys had all been killed in their bed. The other son who slept in the room with his parents was not noted, or where the location of his body was. Um, it is possible that Mr. Ackerman heard a noise and sent his son to check the other room while he armed himself. The eldest daughter was found just inside of the doorway leading to the front porch. The daughter's remains were found where her bed had once stood before the fire. The locations of Mrs. Ackerman and the oldest daughter seemed to indicate that they had tried to flee before the murder. Um, the autopsy showed Mr. Ackerman's skull showed a large blood clot at the base of his brain, indicating blunt force trauma, um, either by a blunt end of an axe or similar weapon. Um, Amanda showed the same trauma, the wife, and authorities determined that each family member had been killed in the same way and that they had all died before the fire was set. Um, and it's unknown if the bodies were actually dismembered, severely burned, or a combination of both. And it was about 10 hours before the neighbor noticed that the house was gone. Um, wow. I'm just dismember. See in there in the Pensacola Journal, it says 9 dismembered bodies tell story of murder and arson. Um, that is there, let's see if they had any. Oh, they got a photo of the grave here. That looks like a newer headstone. The Ackerman family massacre remains the deadliest axe murder in the United States. We will never know what exactly happened to this family on that terrible night. What we do know is that the Ackerman family was not the only victim of a family massacre such as this. They weren't even the only victims that year. Oh, well, I got to read this. Yeah, they got the Villisca murders on here too. They've got another one called Lyerly Family Axe Murders. That was just 6 miles away from the Ackermans. Well, see, now I'm gonna go down now tonight I'm going down an axe murder rabbit hole because now I gotta read about all of this stuff. Oh, let's see. Alright, let me go back down here. Alright, so far, I gosh, it's so like, how like, so you're so far out in the country, but, like, how does somebody I mean, you'd think there's lots of places for somebody to hide. So you think this is, like, possibly connected to Villisca? I wanna see what is this? Where's this article from? This is called southernstrange.com, and they spell Ackerman, Acreman. Here, I'll put it in the chat. So if anybody wants to Oop, Allentown. There we go. I put it in chat, so you guys can go check this out and read this. I'll post it. Actually, I'll post the link for this in the I'll do a post for it so you guys can go look at this. It shares what they had a photo of a Alabama tenant house, which apparently looks like what the Ackerman's family. So it's like, I think they call these a dog trot, aren't they? They got the long they got like the hallway that goes down the middle that's open, and then you got a room on either side of it. I think that's a dog trot, or yeah, I think that's what they call a dog trot. Let me look at it. Oh no, that's not. Actually, I don't know. They got a photo in here of the house too. See, I've heard of the Christmas family murders, and it's not their family was the Christmas family. J.M. Christmas and his wife Martha, and I've heard of that one. That was in 1906 too. Several people, including their oldest son, were arrested for the murders on that one. I'm gonna have to look all these up again. Like I said, I feel like I'm gonna be going down a rabbit hole with these. Oh, here, this one here says, The Man from the Train. Here it is. Okay. 2017 book, The Man from the Train. It's Bill James and his daughter Rachel McCarthy James lay out their theory that a German immigrant named Paul Mueller is responsible for countless axe murders between 1900 and 1912. These include those of Christmas, Ackerman, the Lyerly families, as well as the massacre in Villisca. They theorized that he would ride the trains, get off at these sleepy little towns, and go searching for a family to kill. Preferring a yard with easily accessible axe. He would always strike at night, enter the home through the back door, often assault the girls of the family. He would use sheets or blankets from the home to cover the dead bodies of the victims. I forgot, they didn't have that in the wiki or the Wikipedia for the Moore family, but they were all covered, I think, in Villisca too. And they theorize his motive was not to steal, but just to kill. Sometimes he would remain at the home for several hours until daybreak. They theorize that Mueller killed people all across America and in his native Germany. All the while, innocent people were executed and lynched for his crimes. Paul Mueller disappeared into Germany after 1922. It is unknown what became of him. I don't know if I ever fully got on board with that guy being him, but could it be the same? I think it could still be the same guy. W.G. Ackerman was a preacher. They were killed late Sunday night into early morning. Oh, let's see. I don't see that did they say that? Yeah. It's not saying anything about that he was a preacher, but that's just this article that I pulled up. But now I'm interested. I don't remember their story from the man from the train. I do remember him talking about the Christmas family. There was I think there was the Axeman of New Orleans, but I think they figured out who that one was. But There's one in Colorado Springs. That's the one I want to talk about now. Colorado. Here, hang on. I'm gonna pull it up here. 1911. Yeah, they blame that one on Billy the Axe Man, but they're so original with their names. Yeah, he was a suspected serial killer, U.S. Midwest between September 1911 and June 1912. Let's see. I want the story. I don't want that part. Here it is. So in Colorado Springs, so um, it was 1911, two separate houses on the same night. Hang on, I'm trying to get down to the 6 people died. Get to the story already. In the wee hours of September Sunday, somebody grabbed an axe that was laying in one of the yards and broke into the house on Harrison Place, where he or she used the blunt end to crush the heads of 30-year-old Henry Wayne, his 26-year-old wife, Blanche, and their 2-year-old daughter. Then the killer went next door and enacted the same tragedy upon 25-year-old Mary Alice Burnham and her 2 children, ages 3 and 6, before disappearing into the night. But that one I think that was the one that had the similarities to Villisca. See, I gotta go look. All right, now I'm gonna take a deep dive on this. So, is there not a picture up there? Tiff, is the Axe Murder house not up there? It shows up on my screen, but and hello, Emmett Jones. Which one did you hear of? Of the Axe Murder? Which one? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna look. I want to read more about the Ackermans and see what see what I found. Yeah, and Jen, the Axeman of New Orleans. If you played if you played jazz music, he would walk past your house. He wouldn't come in and kill you. He had that city freaking terrified. And they never got anybody for him either. So I think there's something to, but then again, how did you get around from one place to another back then, right? Like, fastest way to get out of town would be, right, to just catch a ride on the train. And you could easily probably just jump in a boxcar and take off. So, I mean, to say it could be many different murderers all just doing this, the axes would have been readily available. Everybody probably had one because they all probably had a wood pile to keep their house warm. And how did people, if you quickly needed to get out of town, fastest way to do, if you had a railroad track near you, right? You just jump the train and get the hell out of Dodge to get as far away as you could in the least amount of time. So there is, I think the killer obviously used the railroad for, probably all of these, whoever did all, I don't think it's one guy that did all of the killings, but, some of these are pretty too too darn similar. I don't think the New Orleans Axe Murders, the one that did Villisca, I think that was a little, I mean, especially with the jazz music, but the railroad serial killer, yeah, like, how are you going to, oh no, Tiff, if I start pulling up a bunch of pictures, oh, shit's gonna crash. I am looking at I was pulling up stuff on my tablet though, because I think the book does touch on the Ackermans, but like he touched on so many different axe murders, and there were a lot. Like that was if that wasn't the primary way of being killed in around 1912, um, yeah, it's crazy how many actual, and he talks about how he kind of breaks it down, right? Like you've got all these axe murders and how he kind of brings everything, looks at the motives, and I still think the Colorado Springs one, if I remember correctly, I still think that had something to do, I think that is the same person who did Villisca. Now, I don't know about this German immigrant because there is that, you guys know about, what is it? What do you call it? Hello girl, Ryan. Hey, hey, boo. Um, yeah, Tiff, with the at Ackerman House, they have a diagram, and then they just show some like those like the typical tenant sharecropper houses. It's not what I was, because looking at the diagram of their house, it doesn't. I thought it was. They show a photo of what they call. I think they call them a jog trot, like where like you've got two sides of the house, and then they've got like an open breezeway through the middle, and you've got like, I think, the kitchen on one side, and then the bedrooms are on the other side, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they were showing in this photo, but when I look at the diagram of the Ackerman house, that's not the type of house they had. So I think they're just using that as just some picture to put in here. But yeah, I want to look at this. So you guys want, we can pull up some stuff on this. I think I have photos of their graves. The Moors. I did go to the cemetery. Um, I'll have to look around and see. I don't even know where all those are. It's been more than 10 years since I went on that ghost tour thing. Um, like I said, I won't go back either. Well, I mean, I'll go back to Villisca, but I don't want to go back into that house. Look how pretty it looks. It looks like Anna Green Gables or something. Hell no, don't go in there, guys. Yeah. And Adventure says the thing I mostly am interested in is there's something that connects the cases. Were they all at the church that night? Was there something they missed? We can link by newspaper articles. I bet. I mean, should be able to link a lot. Well, how did he? I want to reread The Man from the Train, because I know he had gone through. There were a couple that I didn't agree with, but and then local people would mention the same name of a suspect or suspicious person. How? Yeah, I don't. Now I want to read about this one in Colorado Springs again too, because I think there was some talk because she had her husband was estranged, and they thought maybe he went into the wrong house and killed the family of three. But then there was that whole thing with the lamp and the chimney taken off. I think that was one of the houses that occurred in. So and yeah, you know what, Morg, it's a pretty good idea if I'm telling you what, if I get creeped out, it's from a good idea to stay out of there. Not a lot of places like, I get creeped. This is not just creepy. This is, like, you ain't supposed to be here, kinda, like, whatever's in there now. Even during the day, it felt wrong. The barn's fine. I was in the barn quite a bit, and it was fine, but I like barns too. Yeah, this it's not right there, you guys, but hey, if you get a chance to go and tour it, definitely, because 'cause you'll get to see it puts it all into perspective. It looks like this big old farmhouse. It's not that big. Um, these bedrooms are, like, they're tiny, and how somebody you have to be a pretty hard man, I just everything wakes me up, so I still don't understand how yeah, how somebody slept through how all of them slept. All those kids sleeping through jeez. Yeah. Go right, I'll keep the car running. Alright. That's okay, I'm not going yeah, I wouldn't go in here again at night. And Jen says, "I want records of everywhere the traveling Mr. Kelly visited, wondered if his church organization kept those." I think didn't he just kind of fall into places though? Didn't I don't remember him being um, like, associated necessarily, like, with one group. I thought he kinda just right? Like, I don't know, like, thinking out loud here. So, seems like there was a book on Kelly too. I'll have to look. I wasn't ready to discuss this tonight, so but now I'm all, yeah, traveling preacher, they just kinda showed up in town, right? Like, it wasn't, um he wouldn't have necessarily been I had a, what, three-time great-grandpa, that's what he was a traveling pastor, and he just showed up and just if the town wanted some prayer, they got some prayer, I guess. And if they had money, they give them money. Because not every town had a preacher, pastor, or whatever, so, like, sometimes they just show up and, um not all these guys were actual reverends and stuff either too, right? Like, you could just show up and say you were a man of God, it didn't mean you were. Um, so, mm, alright. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up because 'cause I've got a lot that I wanna go read, and I wanna see what photos I can find, and I don't know I don't think I've got any video from 'cause this was a while back that I did this. My kid was like a baby when I went here and did this. Yeah, I'm still, I'm s I'm still on I mean, it wouldn't take a whole lot for you guys to convince me that Kelly did it, but he also, like, it's so you look at him, it's like, "Well, yeah, of course, look at him. Everybody's gonna think he did it." He's just unfortunate. Ugh, but I would like to know other places that he went because I do think whoever did Villisca, this wasn't their one. This wasn't like a one and done. Not that I'm a FBI profiler or anything like that, but I mean, this isn't yeah. And I know there were a lot of theories. Did somebody that didn't like Joe Moore, like there was somebody that he was upset with about the implement business. There were competitors or something, and I'm like, it seems a long way to go to get rid of your competitor. I don't care how, like, I don't see that as being either a reason for him to be murdered. So the whole just somebody who came in to kill them just to kill them, like somebody, right? Like traveling around and this is what he did. The whole idea of somebody like hiding out in your barn and just waiting um waiting to seize that opportunity, right? And then like sees your movements, like he's watching everything you do, and then you and your family go to a church function, and uses that opportunity to just walk on in your house and goes upstairs and is smoking cigarettes, waiting for you, waiting for your family to go to sleep. Like, he's done that before. That wasn't his first, um yeah, that wasn't the first time he's done that. That's why, like, I just when I look at Kelly, I just don't get that from him. Like, whoever did this has some yeah, he's deeply troubled, but this person who did it, he's just that's a whole other kinda evil. Um, I mean, I don't know, Kelly just ugh, I don't know. Course, I'm sure probably people didn't think well, I don't know, Ed Gein he looked crazy, and he was. So so I can get that too. Um, yeah, he did wasn't he didn't he peek was it his he got in trouble for peeking at his cousin or something, wasn't it? Or what but that he had so much wrong like, I don't like to use that terminology, like he had something wrong with him, but he definitely whatever was going on with him, something happened to him when he was a child. Like, he was just not, that poor guy. Unless he did it, then I don't feel bad for him. But I think very possibly he could probably have committed other murders, or he would have been close to commit. Didn't he get put in? Didn't he get put into a? Wasn't he in a psychiatric facility? Was that the Reverend? Jen says he's at least, pretty guilty to me and Villisca, one take. Psychosexual motivation, everything pretty much lines up. It's not coincidence, I don't think. I respect your I respect your opinion. Yeah. Hello, Wendabros. Howdy. Um, yeah, still thinking about it. You guys, I mean, you like I said, you guys may be able to convince me on George, the Reverend, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that this is somebody who's gone around. Like I said, this house is not. It is not right. Um, like I said, I've been to Lizzie's axe murder house. This was something. There's some places, yeah, that just don't need to be have people there, and this is one that just needs to be just lock it up and let whatever spirits are still in there, let them be at peace because what going in and yeah, this one's not good. That's just like I said, I felt sick in this place. I didn't like it, especially that bottom with the where the Stillinger girls were sleeping. Yeah, that was not pleasant in there. So whatever. It kind of does make me wonder. Like, I think even though they said there was no evidence that he did something to the one girl, I think it was Lena or was it Ina? Ina. Now I already forgot which one, but I think he did do whatever happened. I think he did do something to her, um, but yeah, I just yeah, let's talk more about this because I want to come back and I have to go look and find all the I know I took a lot of photos when I did that ghost hunting thing here, and it's not actually it's not that long of a drive from me. Like, I'll go for a field trip if anybody wants to join me. I'm not staying overnight again, but that was yeah. But if you see the town, you see the house. I do have some I'll get better photos. This makes it look like it's a huge house, but it is not that big. That's why I still get caught up in the fact, like, I don't know how anybody walked around here and did that. Like, I don't know. But like I said, there was something I have to go look because I know there was something about it all being dark that night. They're like the street lights. There was something going on with the street lights that night. So Yeah, this guy could have easily been he could have been sneaking all over the place and nobody would have seen him. So, but I don't know, guys. I'm still hmm. Um Maybe in time we will lean another way. That's why I'm trying to deep dive into each one where the crime is almost identical, what links them. That's why I just keep um like I got caught up with the one in Colorado Springs just because I was living in Colorado at the time. Like I really wanted to get there and like I thought, well, hey, this is the closest one to me. But they keep saying that the house is not there, but it's that there's a house there that's been there since before the murder. So I'm not sure what they keep talking about, but I went there. There's a house there. It looks old and it says it's old. So I'm not really sure. Um, with the Ackermans, I lean someone from the church or the nearby turpentine camp. Um, I want to read. It says something in here about the turpentine camp. See, and even the one in Colorado Springs, she hadn't the one woman, I wonder if it was somebody went in to kill the woman with the child, thinking that she had a new boyfriend. I think it could have been like an estranged husband situation too, because he maybe went into the wrong house, killed the wrong, and then realized, oh crap, that's not my wife. And then he went over into the other house and killed his wife and child. I think that was what I had on the Colorado Springs house, but, I mean, there were so many other ones. I don't know if I pin it on, like, this German guy, that they did in the book, but it's still very interesting, and yeah, um, I totally invited you on a haunted house field trip, guys, so, just let you know, there's not an airport for miles. This is, like, out in the middle of Podunk, Iowa. I've been some places out in the like, there's just flatness forever out here. But it is a cute little town. Like, it's very cute, and oh my goodness, the cemetery with their headstone, it's yeah, they've got a huge, yeah. So, but I'll go look up everything. I'll have to yeah, I did a deep dive, and I don't think I ever came up with anything conclusive either. I did have to wonder about that one, the one in Germany, the Axe Murders there. I always the Germany Axe Murders. I'm gonna look it up real quick because that one it was, but then you think, okay, right, everybody's gonna kill everybody with a axe back then, but murders. Let me look for it. The Hinterkaifeck murders. And yeah, I said that right. So only because I've heard it 1,000 times. So, um, yeah, happened in Germany. That was 1922, but it had a lot to do. It's a lot of similarities um, with Villisca, um, because I think the person was in the barn watching the family for some time, and they actually, after he murdered the family, he was hanging out in the house for quite a while too, because the neighbors from around the countryside kept seeing smoke come out of so they thought everything was fine over there because they would see smoke coming out of the chimneys. So, yeah. But all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I think we've talked more about axe murders than we did the spirit houses, but I can always clip that part off and make it a separate video. So I love editing. Um, Jen says, having gone to a place gives you new perspective. So you have that, and I don't. Your gut feeling, I totally, yeah. Well, I I don't have a gut feeling about who it is, though. Whoever it is is a very twisted, evil human being. You don't like, yeah, I could pick that up. I think one thing that there's hate. This person had a lot of hate in them, and I don't think it was necessarily this family. They just happened to be in his eyesight. Um, yeah, like a lot of serial killers, right? They're just whatever his yeah. I think there's others. I don't know if it's George though. I'm still it would be great though, wouldn't it, if it was him? Because that would just tie it all up. But even though he's dead now, so I don't know. Oh goodness. But we're gonna come back and maybe we'll just do an open. You guys want to do an open panel? I'll give you guys all links and we can all just come up here and talk about it one night. We'll just do a free for all. I won't even we can do like a Sunday night or something. And just come up here, everybody, because I've got lots of stuff and I'm sure you guys have stuff that I've never heard of. So but he wasn't right. Um I'm not saying he was no, he something was wrong with him. Morgan, his Geppetto lamp. I love it. You know what? That's what they are from. I know they have they're not, are they hurricane? Are those hurricane lamps? I think those are hurricane lamps. Yeah, I can't remember. But all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. But you guys that are interested in Villisca, so Jen Adventures, I know both of you two are. Um, I think Sherlock she's interested in it too. So maybe I'll see if Sherlock AJ wants to come up and we'll just do we'll just have a panel where we can all talk and everybody bring their ideas and thoughts and all that stuff because yeah, I've got a lot. I just have to go back and refresh my memory on a lot of it. I think I did think there was somebody. Seems like there was somebody that was imprisoned in Leavenworth. I don't know why that's sticking in my my brain is sticking in my bread too. But yeah, I'll look forward to seeing your video tomorrow then. So let's do that, guys. I'm all for hosting it. If you guys want to, we'll pick a date and we can just we'll pull out all of our theories because I've been looking for people to tear Villisca apart because yeah, a lot of people talk about it, but then they just do it like they cover it and then they're done with it, right? Like they don't just keep talking about it. And then once people are done covering it, right, they just move on to the next one. And this one has always stuck with me. I don't know why. Even before I went there and got uber creeped out, but yeah. And see, Adventures is closer to Ackerman's. I'm still a few hours away from Villisca. The bad thing is it's like you get off 80 and you start going south and you go and you turn and you go and you turn. It's like a zigzag all the way down there. So it's not like you don't get on a road and just go straight south. It's a little pain in the butt to get to, like a lot of places in Iowa. But okay. Before my train of thought gets lost again, and I am super thirsty because I've gone through all of my fluids here that I typically have in front of me for my 2 hours, but and I have a small calico cat over here that keeps looking at me because I think her food dish is empty. So, all right. So all of you guys brush up on Villisca, check out The Man from the Train, check out the Ackerman family murders. And there was one more. Well, I'll bring the Colorado Springs ones. There's not much on those. Just a few articles that I found. So I'll find those again and we'll talk about those. I don't know if that'll be next time, but and I'm not sure if I'm going to be on Sunday night. I think I might do a live cemetery on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow I'm going to go spend the day with my grandma. And I was going to let her watch this, but she's not going to understand any of this axe murder stuff. So I'll just let her watch the first part with the spirit houses. I hope you guys enjoyed the spirit houses, though. I was very excited to bring them to you. And I think the next thing I have, there's some Appalachian folklore that I stumbled upon that Mia B shared with me, and it was about chimneys and why they're just chimneys left on the houses. I want to tie that in. I was going to do that tonight, but I didn't have time to look into any of it any more thoroughly. So I want to talk about those. And then I think I'm almost ready to do the Ireland babies, the Collinis. I think I'm ready to. I think we'll just get all the baby stuff out. Just get done with it, and then we'll move on. Um, but I have a really cool story, local story. A man that was struck by lightning, and then his grave was struck by lightning. That's the story. I'm gonna go check it out and see if it's real. I don't want to go on a stormy day, though. I'm gonna go when it's bright and sunny outside because I don't want to get struck by lightning either. Seems like he's probably attracting some bad judgment from God there. So, yeah, to get struck down and then to get struck again when you're already down and dead. But yeah, that's a cool story that I just stumbled on. So I'm gonna try to bring that one for you guys too. All right, I'm good for the night. I'm tired. Yeah. Do you guys want me to? Do we want to? You guys want to let me practice my raid on you? Do you guys want to go over and we can raid Abby normal? Do you guys want to? No, my ghost husband, girl, Ryan. It's gonna be Charles. Charles, I'm gonna go find those handcuffs. I'm gonna buy them from whoever bought them, and I'm gonna bring Charles home. So apparently, I have to look. Let me see if I can do this. All right. I should have probably been trying to do this while I was. Where's my YouTube studio? All right. I'm going to try this. No, I don't want. No. Hang on. Let me remove this axe murder house here real quick. I'll go over here. Why is it asking me to verify? I don't want to verify. All right, hang on. Nope, that's not what I want. All right, I was gonna try to raid TF in them, but wait. Why does it do this? It's always asking me to verify myself. I'm like, I don't even know who I am most days. All right. I'm gonna close this one. Yeah, okay. I don't want this. All right. I don't know what it's doing now. I knew this was gonna happen. Every time I try to do something on YouTube, it just does something stupid. I am gonna try one more time, guys. Bear with me here. Do you guys want to see Dennis Hopper again? I feel like, you know what? Actually, no. We need to cleanse because that Villisca house. Hang on. We got to get a cleanse in here. Hang on. Here we go. My mic got muted for some reason. All right, guys, I'm going to end it. Thank you all. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Did I break something? I might have. All right. I'm not going to touch anything else because every time I try to touch stuff, it shuts off. So that's what I get for trying to do something nice. But hey, we could all just go over to Traveling Fools and say hi to everybody. Since I can't redirect. I don't even know what to do. Oh, you know what? I think I do know how to do. Hang on. I said that, and then I think I know where to go. Apparently, I don't know where to go. All right, hang on. I'm gonna try one more time. Oh, wait. And then I closed it. Oh my god. Cancel. Yep. Cancel. I know the last 10 minutes is just me here playing with trying to do something cool, but if I can do it, it'll be cool. All right, hang on. All right. I think I can do it from here. Hmm. Nope, I can't do it. I don't know where to do it now. All right. You guys can hear me now? I think I hit something over here. I think I'm supposed to just be able to go into my show and just move everybody, but um yeah, it's oh wait a second. Is this it? I don't know. I would really love if somebody knew how to do this, I would love to figure out how to do it. Yeah, I'm just gonna look and it's just still not gonna it keeps taking me to the same. Yep. All right. I'm done. I'm done looking because I gotta go. I need some Diet Coke or something. But all right, guys, I'm out. Enjoy the horsies at the end here, and I hopefully I will see you Sunday. If not, it'll be Tuesday. And I don't know what's coming next. I've got a lot on my plate that I can serve you guys. So we'll see what happens. I've got lots of stuff. I just gotta get it out of here and notes taken. And yeah, definitely if you guys are interested in Villisca and want to come up and do a panel, I think I can get like 8 people up here at a time. So yeah, 7 people because I got to be up here. Yeah, I think I can get that many people up here. So we can try it if you guys want to do a panel, even if you just want to come. You don't have to have a cam on, camera. You can just come up and be audio only. That's fine. Yeah. All right. So we have that to look forward to. And then we got a field trip. We got to go to a haunted house. So during the day, because I'm not going at night. Never again. All right, guys. I'm going to play the outro and I'll see you later.